Easy
right.
to say for men. It's a little more difficult for women.
I don't think so. Look at that.
Is
that considered a good plastic surgery?
Well, video here shows Simpson drinking Chinese herbal drink in a stylish, just reading, yellow floral dress. Somebody said, "What are you drinking?" And I'm like, my vocal coach told me to. It's snake sperm. When asked if the unconventional beverage was similar to tea, she compared it to honey. Ultimately, Simpson said the drink improved her singing voice. Quote, "If you want a good vocal, you got to drink some snake sperm." She's got a new EP coming out, Nashville Canyon Part 1, which unfortunately probably means we've got Part 2 coming at some other point.
Yeah.
But that came out last week.
I would say you would have thought her voice would have been better in her 20s.
Yes.
I can't remember anything she's ever done. Like her little sister had that song Pieces.
Right,
or
which
Pieces
I
of Me.
enjoyed. Yeah.
Wasn't she Daisy Duke
She
in
was.
the remake?
Yeah.
I think she is most known,
trashed.
personally, as a dead hit right there. Welcome back.
The reality show.
She was most known for the reality show with Nick Lachey when they were married, which I can't even remember the name of that show. It was on MTV.
Did that had a viral clip where she didn't know?
Well, that
Chicken of the Sea.
Yes.
Chicken of the Sea.
That's
She
exactly
didn't know
the
if
part.
tuna was fish or chicken.
Yeah.
That was the whole show. That part went viral, but that was the whole show. She's the dumb blonde. He's the singer that's got some common sense, and they're trying to stay married.
Yeah, but
that's pretty much
behind
the
the scenes. She's got some kind of merch or clothing, and she's a billionaire.
No, yeah, she does. She's quite successful at that. But I think entertainment-wise, she's most known for that and playing Daisy Duke. I cannot name a song she's done.
I tried to watch that movie, Dukes of Hazzard, because I watched it a little bit as a kid, and it was so awful I had to turn it off midway through. Now, she looked good when she wasn't talking.
Yeah. Who were Bo and Luke?
I want to say Ashton Kutcher was in
No,
it.
it was Johnny Knoxville and the guy that played Stifler, Sean
Michael Scott? Is that his name? Sean.
Something like that.
Newlyweds was the name of the show. By the way, harvesting snake sperm would seem quite difficult.
Time consuming.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they get pissed if you kick a stick next to them.
Yeah, imagine if you try to take their sperm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks.
And then, I mean, you got to have multiple snakes. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you get a whole lot out of a snake.
She's down for the job.
Yep.
Yeah. You don't need that 15-minute downtime.
I can't believe this has become a thing
between harvesting.
But have you guys seen that Teslas are being attacked?
I have seen
These
this.
people coming up in parking lots.
Yeah, burning them.
Yeah.
So police say they've identified and arrested a suspect who vandalized a Tesla with bubble gum at the Adventura Mall. Yamaris Manera, 45 years old, now facing felony criminal mischief charge because, according to police, the, quote, large wad of gum caused $2,623.66 in damage to the electric car's door handle mechanism. Investigators say in an arrest report the incident happened just before 12:45 p.m. on Saturday in a JCPenney parking lot. Now, it was captured on the car's built-in cameras. Do people not realize that they've got these built-in cameras now?
I don't know if you saw that one guy. He's like some tech executive, and he keyed a Tesla. And, I mean, it is perfect video of him doing it from the Tesla video. And then the police are there questioning him. He's like, "No, I didn't do it." And they're like, "Buddy, you are literally wearing the same clothes in the video as
the
you've got on
Tesla's
right now."
Photoshop me. If it can drive somebody, it can Photoshop me. So it was captured on the built-in camera. Its owner told Local 10 News that he felt targeted as a result of a, quote, unfortunately, a divide in our country where certain views that are not accepted by a subset. Now, obviously referencing the controversy over Tesla founder Elon Musk's association with President Donald Trump. He was arrested.
Expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand. Contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round. When you crave activity like we do, you belong in the Roback family. Get the best golf wear, hoodies, and activewear for men and women at Roback.com. Use promo code TNR20 to get 20% off your order. That's Roback.com, promo code TNR20.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios. The Next Round presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, brand new show, one day closer to Auburn's next appearance in the Final Four coming up on Saturday. We'll talk about how you beat the Florida Gators, how other teams have done it this year, what they did right against Auburn down at Neville Arena in that one meeting. We'll get you ready for that coming up a little bit later on in the show today. We'll also talk about the portal going on, some NFL changes, and the Braves lose again, but they finally scored a run.
It's a small victory.
All that happening on the show today. We were just talking about Coastal Carolina and concessions before we get to the serious stuff going on. For their home football games this year, they're not going to charge you anything for free for certain items. There are 4 items. Hot dogs, nachos, popcorn, and fountain drinks. Now, this happened yesterday. Can you do an April Fool's joke the day before April's Fool's?
Yep.
Because we got to watch for crazy, not accurate, not real things to happen today.
And we'll see a lot of that. I don't know. I mean, look, I guess you could set it up, Brown. And the thing is, we're talking about Coastal Carolina, which we never would be here,
Correct.
originating out of Birmingham. I'm sure there are people in Seattle and San Jose and L.A. and Miami probably doing the same, because this absolutely makes no sense.
It really does not. I don't know how you make you don't make money doing this. I don't know why you would do this. We've all warned one another. It was one of the first things Scott, reminded us of when we walked in. Hey, just remember, April Fool's Day today. So, stuff you see on Twitter, be very careful. I told Taylor, I hate April Fools. I think it is. And, boy, the radio industry used to love April Fools.
Yeah.
Well, 4 downs, I got an April Fool's coming up, so save it.
I'm just saying,
throw some things out there.
No. I hated April Fools because it led to the dumbest radio shows of all time. I'm going to say something that is obviously not true, and it's just going to be an April Fool's joke, and they're not funny.
I apologize. Bonnie and I, we've been doing radio today on the Bonnie and Baz show for 20 years, but Bonnie and I got in a fight last night.
Yeah, that's why Bonnie's not here today.
Bonnie's not here today, and our show's going to end on Friday, and I'm so sorry, but I just couldn't take her
Lewis
griping anymore.
The dumbest
Yeah,
Lewis
I mean,
Brown
outside of like the pub, I guess that Coastal Carolina would get, the numbers crunch based on what they averaged, I think 21,000 in attendance.
Okay, here, Chance Feast Free, Chanticleers, right?
Yep.
And that's their story from yesterday. Popcorn, hot dogs, nachos, and sodas. I think there's no limit listed, right?
Right. No, what they say is there's no limit on how many visits you can make to the concession stands, but they must scan an app each time.
Yeah. So you got to download the app, and you've got to scan it each time. So you probably get 1 drink, 1 hot dog on a visit, 1 popcorn.
Okay, so
visit.
based on the 21,000 plus, what do you think they would generate in concessions per game?
No, you've got the number?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 21,000 people. I am going to say you are $8 ahead on average. I'd say $150,000, $160,000.
I'd say $10 ahead, so about
Okay,
200.
Okay, y'all are off a little bit more, $12, $13 ahead, $250,000 per game. But a program like Coastal Carolina cannot operate without that $250,000 per game.
That's what, 10 or that's
12, $13.
5 home games? 6 home games?
Yeah, probably.
All right, so we're talking about $1 million.
Yeah.
A little more than $1 million and a quarter.
Okay.
Now, that's revenue, so they're having to share that with a Sodexo or whoever the company is that does that. So, I mean, their take on that is they're probably taking home 50%. I don't know.
I don't know.
What probably happens is a company pays them the rights to sell it, right? They're just making the money on Jim Dunaway Incorporated coming in saying, we'll be your concession provider, and that's where they make their money, I would guess. I don't know how all that works.
But see, now alcohol you still have to pay for.
Yep.
Other items you have to pay for. So maybe you make it up with alcohol sales, having more people in the building. Maybe you make it up on the other side. Maybe you make it up on ticket prices. People actually spending money to get tickets.
Well, and that's
cut down on your freebies.
Yeah, that's what I said before the show is, so if you go up $10 a ticket, does anybody notice?
Yep.
And B, are they like, I'll pay 10 extra? Like,
Well, I'll tell you that according to the team site, seat in the lower bowl went up $230 from $200. So it's a $30 increase.
Yeah.
There you go. That's how they did it.
So that covers 3 games.
Yeah.
for each person.
And then I roll the dice that with free concessions, more people buy tickets than they did before. There's some math in there.
I like the hot dog, but that sausage dog upgrade, or chili on my hot dog that I got to pay for.
That's right. Well, I got the first hot dog free, so I'll pay the sausage.
But I remember the Falcons lowered theirs.
That's right. And made more money.
Yeah, and it's still a big deal. You know, anything in that venue stays the same universal price.
Yeah,
which is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever, like some major league parks, there's a ticket area where it is unlimited concessions, and I'm always baited into that one.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Nationals seem like they would have that.
The Nationals have it.
Is that a shout at the Nationals?
It's been a while.
You know, the White Sox have got to have it. I've been to a game there, but I don't recall.
Hey,
coming off a big win last night.
Scott's White Sox are 2-2.
I think the White Sox come and pick you up and bring you to the game, don't they?
Hey, the White Sox have the best ERA in baseball right now.
Have y'all turned it around, do you think, Scott? You're 2-2.
Yeah, I mean, what could go wrong?
Yeah,
you made it to the month of April with the best ERA.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I think your record is a lot better than the Braves right now, correct?
It is.
Yeah.
Early shot at the Braves from Jimmy America.
I think Braves fans are right in there with you. I've seen those in major league parks where it's unlimited, but now you're paying for it in the price of your ticket. But
That's
it's just
right.
whether or not you want to do that.
Well, it's like
I made it into it. I'll be honest with you.
It's like an all-inclusive resort, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you go there thinking, I'm going to drink and eat everything.
That's right.
To get my money's worth.
And then you eat for the first 3 innings. You're like, I can't handle anything else.
I can't have another hot
Yeah,
dog.
or by the second or third day, you're like, this food sucks.
No, it's really not that good.
Hey, seriously, I can't look at a hot dog right now because they didn't have, like in the work area, they didn't have any food, media area. They had set up a hot dog stand at Prudential
Now,
Center.
When you say that, is it like they paid one of the guys to come off the street and do it, or it's just a hot dog bar?
It's from upstairs. They have one down there.
Just a hot dog bar.
And it's just hot dogs. And they had sodas provided for you, but you would.
But do they have good toppings?
Nope, just ketchup and mustard packets. So, I just by working, that's why the media has food sometimes because you're working there and you're going to work through lunch or whatever. So I had a hot dog every day in both Cleveland and the same way set up at Cleveland. No meal, it's just a hot dog stand outside. So Cleveland and Newark both set up the same way. And so I had a hot dog or two every day. And then I went to Yankee Stadium, and I was like, well, crap, you can't go to Yankee Stadium and not get a couple of Nathans. So I had a couple of Nathans at Yankee Stadium. And then I got home last night, and I was like, I was craving a salad because I hadn't had a salad in 13 days. And I was like, I need some salad.
Boy, when you're craving a salad.
It was so good. I could.
Wow.
The thought of a hot dog just made me
That
wanna
is the
gag.
cheapest thing that you can roll out as a hot dog because, we did the snorkeling last week, and you had your choice of cafeteria burger or hot dog.
Yeah.
And I made the mistake of having that hot dog because I've had so many smash burgers on the island. And that hot dog, if you get a bad dog, it will stay with you forever.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. That Nathan's, I feel like that's coming.
That's a good
right,
dog.
I feel like it's coming right from the source there in New York. Like if I get a
it's
Nathan,
a B+ pig.
yeah, like if I get a Nathan right here, I feel like wow, we've shipped that from New York.
I tell
But
you
a
though,
Nathan right there in New York,
Yeah.
it was good. It was
I
good.
think almost every stadium I've ever been to, I've tried their hot dog.
Oh, I mean that's
It's a staple at a stadium,
yeah.
right?
I go to the game. I wanted
Yep.
a flat beer and a hot dog.
And I'll have to tell you, and maybe it's just the romanticism of my childhood, but to this day, I don't think I've ever found one I like better than the old Legion Field dog.
with
that's
the
a good
pre-mixed
one.
ketchup.
Pre-mixed
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
kraut. Ooh, man,
And
that
it
was,
never was hot. It was almost lukewarm.
It was lukewarm, but it was so good coming out of that
It
little
really was.
foil package.
You know what the first thing I did when I had a layover in Nashville on the flight back? The first thing I did in Nashville? And it wasn't even a Coke Zero or a Diet Coke. I had a flat out Coke Classic.
Did you really?
Because Yankee Stadium, different pour than Coca-Cola.
Oh,
Name of the brand.
boo.
Everywhere in the North, it was the other pour.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a Coca-Cola
Yeah, it
product
was- it was-
anywhere
That went
up
down.
there.
That went down good though,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Oh my God! I mean, for me to-
50-50 in the 50th state too.
Yeah.
Do we have a Jim Coke?
I was
up
just
there?
looking. We got the Coke with the names on them.
Yeah. Elijah, that's my middle name. James E. Dunaway. Elijah.
No, it's not.
It's not. I'm kidding. April Fools.
We don't even have anything close to Jim. Sorry. We'll find one for you though, Jimmy. We got a one.
Hey, we got to.
That's kind of close.
Hey, do you think? Look, I mean, there has been altercation started on every level over everything, But somebody digging through at the convenience store trying to find their name on a Coke, you think that started anything?
Oh, yeah. Or, you sitting there slowing me up. Can I get around you?
Dude's got to get back on the jackhammer. He's only got 17 minutes of lunch left.
The guy's holding him and dropping him now because he's trying to look to the back. Insanity.
What's your name? Alejandro. Buddy, I think you're out of luck.
Go to Mexico City.
Maybe,
right up.
maybe not. I'm looking over there right now.
Oh, we got a Fernando.
You got an Adriana?
Yeah. What's that one up? Is that Samantha up at the top?
That is Samantha.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Fernando does jump.
I see a Juan.
Yeah.
There's a Cole up there.
Adriana I always think of the girl on Sopranos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
didn't end well for her, by the way.
It did not. Well,
by the way,
loose lips. They'll sink some ships, Lance.
Enjoy that Coca-Cola product here in the South. It's not everywhere throughout the states. Okay, we'll get to Auburn Final Four. What's happened overnight? Some future odds and all that after we tell you about odds from our friends at Hemphill first. They bring you Lance's Lock, lanceslock.com. I'm interested because you had to play on the UConn women. Was it 14.5?
It was.
A freaking 14-point win.
It stuck at 14. So the first quarter, I had it on a secondary TV. I was just sort of paying attention. The Paige Becker's chick is unbelievable.
She's unbelievable.
But it was, back and forth first quarter, and then they kind of stretched that lead and had it out to 14-15, but it stayed 14-15 the entire game. I think they got up 19, but they just never could get over the hump.
And so it was
just
bad
hovered.
beat.
It wasn't a bad beat. It was just I'll tell you, if you played it last night either way, and you don't care anything about women's basketball.
If I play a women's basketball game and lose, that's a bad beat.
It is.
I've had to watch the game.
Yeah, if you had to sit there and watch 4 quarters of this really boring game where you knew it was never in doubt that UConn was going to lose, it was just whether or not they were going to cover the number with no Juju Watkins on the other side. So, yeah, we lost. We lost multiple games by a half point last night.
When I saw 14 today, I was like, boy, I swear I think Lance said it was 14.5. That's a bad beat.
It was.
When somebody didn't have their number one player out there.
We'll have winners up. We'll bounce back from some of those bad beats last night. Lanceslock.com. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services. Trusted name, Birmingham has trusted since 1954. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues, any of these arise in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
And our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. If you want to play those winners, you can do that easily with a promo code next round.
That's right. Where Duke, this game has ticked up a little bit. Now a 5-point favorite over the Houston Cougars. Important to some in this room, Duke and Houston.
I like that, Brown.
Yeah, Duke now a 5-point favorite. The Florida Gators still a 2.5-point favorite, holding as a 2.5-point favorite over the Auburn Tigers. If you just want to bet on the overall winner, the numbers have changed a little bit. Duke now minus 103, Florida plus 275, Houston plus 420, Auburn plus 480. The order hasn't changed, just the overall numbers have changed a little bit. That's all right there at mybookie.ag. You want to play the baseball games today where the Dodgers are favored over the Braves? You could do that. Atlanta looking for their first win. You can play the Final Four. You could have played that women's game last night we were just talking about. All right there at mybookie.ag. Code next round gets you a 50% deposit bonus when you sign up at mybookie.ag and use code next round. 50% deposit up to $1,000. And also some help there in the casino. How about a $10 casino chip you can play with in the casino and the live casino right there at mybookie.ag. That's when you use code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Mybookie.ag, code next round. Mybookie.ag, code next round.
So I was on 2 different radio shows this morning in the state of Florida. It didn't seem like they were big cities, but they were nice people. And
Sarasota?
I don't know where they were, to be honest with you. One of them, is Lake City a place? Is that
sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, maybe it's just up and down the coast. Just good guys, and they were talking Florida and Auburn, and they asked me the question, how does Auburn slow down Walter Clayton Jr.? I said, I don't think that's the key. And by the way, Brown, you remember you laughed at me when I threw away those old sheets of mine from yesterday's show?
I did, yeah. Was that the stats you need?
The back of one of those had the stats on this.
All right.
But
Instead in the men's room, if you want.
Walter Clayton Jr. In one of their losses scored 28. So just because he scores his doesn't mean that Florida can lose, but in every one of their losses, there was one consistent thing in all their losses.
You're talking about in all of Florida's losses?
All of Florida's losses. Alex Condon, 10 points or less, and the winning team beat Florida when they outscored them in paint points. Points in the paint. Every one of Florida's losses came when they beat them in the paint. It wasn't really Walter Clayton Jr., though Tennessee, kept him at arm's length and their one win over Florida. But the consistent way to beat Florida, and that's Auburn's challenge next, is to beat them in the paint. And that's where the health of Johni Broome becomes very important. And it's also where the defense and Dylan Cardwell comes in, Chaney Johnson when he's in there. That becomes, to me, the focal point of this game.
I was looking back at the game that Florida beat Auburn in the regular season at Neville, 90-81, and I was just looking for some things, because I think that game we were at Odie's that Wednesday night watching it. Am I right about that? I'm almost positive it was a Wednesday night.
No, it was a Saturday game.
Was it?
Yeah, Florida at Auburn, yeah.
Well, anyway, with that said, I was looking at some different things, and I was like, did Auburn turn the ball over a lot? Florida had more turnovers. Did Florida dominate the boards? That typically is a way Auburn can lose games. Dead even in rebounds. Yep. Florida didn't shoot it extremely well. 48% from the field. Clayton was good, 6 of 11, 19 points, but he wasn't great.
Yeah, no.
I think, Jim, you run in with Clayton, you run into the situation that Alabama kind of faced with Duke is you can take Cooper Flagg out of the game. Alabama didn't let Cooper Flagg beat them. But Nate Oates said this, they were way too focused on Cooper Flagg. And if you start to be way too focused on Clayton, guess who's probably going to be the beneficiary of that? Because now your defense is pulled out closer, to the three-point arc, and the guy you just mentioned, Condon, is probably going to get a good one-on-one or maybe even unguarded.
You go back to the way Florida spanked Alabama on senior night in Tuscaloosa. How many of those easy backdoor alley-oops did they get?
Yep,
all
of them. Yeah. All of them.
Anytime they wanted it, they alley-ooped the backdoor to them. So to me, beating Florida is, Walter Clayton Jr. is going to get his, I feel like. Though Auburn's great defensively on the perimeter, it's down to the paint. Bruce had a chance to talk about Johni's injury after the game on Sunday. If you can give me cut number 1, Tyler. Here's what he says, and then I want you guys to tell me on Johni Broome's health. Just eye test on when he's been healthy and where you think he is right now. Here's Bruce Pearl on Johni Sunday.
Did you get a diagnosis from the team doctor? Was it hyperextension or anything? And is there anything that he will be limited doing in the next week?
Yeah, Pat, I didn't get any diagnosis. When Johni came out of the locker room, I hadn't talked to the doctor, but I just asked him, are you good to go? He said, I am. I said, well, get your ass in there. And so Dylan was ready to come out. Dylan was kind of calling the bench, and if Johni had not come out, I probably would have just, called a timeout. I think we won't really know until tomorrow and see what that was. Whether it's a slight hyperextension or whatever it was, obviously the doctors were able to examine it and determine that there was no damage.
Yeah, and
I bet you it'll be pretty sore tomorrow, though.
And tomorrow, of course, was yesterday now. So as Auburn gets back in their preparation before they leave in a few hours, few days to head to San Antonio, we should get an update. But it's going to be very close to the vest. You're not going to, at this point, there's no injury report you've got to put out there about Johni Broome. You're not going to be totally forthcoming on how healthy Johni Broome is. Yeah.
And I will say that I think Bruce Pearl talked with Jeff Goodman to the field of 68 and told him that when they do practice initially, he's probably not going to practice, which, again, we're months into this season. At this point, if Johni Broome's just watching film, you're probably good with that, right? And walking through whatever you're walking through, this is a familiar opponent, so I don't think not practicing is that big of a deal. You will do absolutely anything to get him healthy right now. So, is he going to be 100%? No, probably not. But who's 100%?
And when has he been 100% this year?
I don't know that he's been 100% since that initial injury.
Yeah, not since the initial.
And the shoulder first, remember?
Yep. Against the Purdue, the game where he missed Purdue. Yeah, or was going to miss Purdue. He didn't.
He played Purdue.
That's right.
He played it with a harness on his shoulder and played well.
Yep. Then he had the leg. Which he re-aggravated during the Alabama game to the point he had to come out of the game.
And he still produced.
Yep.
A National Player of the Year. So I think a storyline of his health, 100% or not, we don't think he'll be 100%, but when has he been 100%, and how has that hindered him? It really has.
I can't get a feel for this game right now. Like, if you guys were drafting these 4 teams, one to win the national championship on your life, where would you start?
Well, I think it's one of those, I know it's cliche to say this, but you got 4 number 1 seeds, and it's been a year where, I think at one point, Houston, I don't think I ever thought Houston was the best team in the country.
Boy, I think they might be right now, though.
Do you really?
mean, they could be.
I don't know. I mean, what they did defensively to Tennessee, and not that Tennessee, but you said they were 17th in KenPom.
Yeah.
Offensively.
Yeah. I mean, that is the thing that Kelvin Sampson has done this year is he's fixed their offensive slumps. They were 10th in KenPom. It was Tennessee that was 17th.
With all that said, I don't know if you guys have a feel. I still feel like Duke is going to win this thing.
Yeah. For the biggest part of the year, I thought Auburn was the best team in the country, and I think they're number 1 overall seed. Near the end of the year, I thought Florida was the best team in the country, and now having seen them twice in person, I think maybe Duke is the best team in the country. I've never thought Houston was, and it's probably just the fact that Auburn and Alabama both beat them back pre-conference.
But that was back before they figured it out. And I think we did sleep a little bit on the Big 12.
Yeah.
Just based on what Texas Tech did.
Yeah.
So I'll answer your question this way. You are stranded in the middle of nowhere with no help, and I'm going to give you a cell phone. And your choices are take the iPhone, tried and true. You've used it. You know it works. Or I got these other ones that are good, and they're getting good reviews, but they're not the iPhone. Which one are you taking?
So is in this analogy, is Duke the iPhone?
100% Duke's the iPhone. They've been at 18 Final Fours.
Yeah, but
it is a different regime.
Yeah,
it is, but it looks a lot like the old regime, does it not?
It does.
It's the updated it's the updated iPhone.
But since Auburn, who I guess you're saying is a Samsung, since Auburn went to their first Final Four in 2019. Nobody's been to more, have they? Than Auburn?
I guess
Auburn's been to 2.
And I've said this
2.
a lot on a different style. And look, and it will be a first-time national championship coach. But when you've never seen the brand do it before, it's more difficult to envision that.
Yeah.
Houston has never done it. Auburn's never done it. We've seen it with Florida and Duke.
Yeah. I probably have Duke right now as the team to beat. Then I'd probably stick with Florida.
Well, I've gone over the numbers. Let's just say Duke wins this game. I think over Florida, they're a 2.5 to 3 point favorite. And over Auburn, they're probably 3.5 to 4.
Right.
So it's not like they're going to be a significant favorite over either one of these teams if they, in fact, beat Houston. And that's a big if.
I've got the odds for the national championship game, all the matchups. Duke-Auburn would be the biggest point spread. You want to guess what it is? Have you seen this already?
I have not. I just said I think Duke would be 4 points over Auburn.
5.5 is what they're projecting it being.
Do you remember what it was at Cameron Indoor? I'm sorry, Jim.
Yeah, it was more than that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. 6.5 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, the Duke would be against Florida. You want
to? Duke against Florida is going to be obviously lower. I said that would be 2.5 or 3.
Yeah, they got it at 4.5.
Okay.
So Duke would be a pretty healthy favorite, relatively speaking, if they're in the national championship game. Houston versus Auburn.
Houston versus Auburn, I would list, I would go straight up pick.
They got Houston -1.
Okay.
Virtual pick. And Florida versus Houston.
I would go Florida probably 1.
They go an absolute pick.
Okay.
And that's where they would be right now. So you're very close to all of those. And really, all those are good games.
And honestly, I'm kind of like you. I thought for a while, couldn't figure Duke out because when you look at the out of conference, and we talked about this yesterday, they lost to Kansas, they lost to Kentucky, and then you get into the ACC, and nobody believed in the ACC at all, so it was hard to get a gauge on them. But I did think at one time Auburn was the best team. Coming into the tournament, thought Florida was the best team. Think Duke probably is the best team right now, but I've got no problem with people saying Houston is the best team. So anyway, it's that balance.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you get 1 seeds, right? All the 1 seeds that are there.
Yeah, and we did sort of crap on the ACC all year long.
Not sort of. We absolutely did.
Yeah.
But, they didn't do anything in the tournament outside of Duke.
Yeah.
I know, but this is the 4th straight year they've had a team in the Final Four.
No, they were in the tournament what we thought they were. To quote the late, great Dennis Green. Dennis Green passed, right? Denny Green's dead.
I think he did, yeah.
The late, great Denny Green. They are who we thought they were. I mean, the ACC was absolutely what we thought it was, a one-team league. And it just turns out that one team is so good that even though they haven't been tested in that one-team league, it didn't matter because they are right there in the Final Four, and they are the favorites to win it all.
And they'll still flex it. If there's ever a day before we get to a guaranteed 3, 4, whatever that number is from conferences in the 12-team playoff, if the SEC only got one in, as long as they won the national championship,
right.
it'd still be a major flex.
Yep.
Stephen Pearl coming up in the next segment, associate head coach. He'll talk Auburn basketball with us. He's in the very next segment with us. We look forward to talking with Stephen. I will tell you this, one more thing about the portal to get to after Brownie tells us about our friends at ImageCraft.
That's right. They want you to print more but spend less with ImageCraft. If you are one of those businesses that does a lot of printing, you're a car dealership, maybe you're a tax office. This time of year, you know how much you're printing there if you're a tax office, right? Maybe a school or university, a pharmacy. ImageCraft can help you save on all the things you have to buy to keep that printing going. They carry all the major brands, too. HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, and Xerox. They offer free same-day delivery on all the in-stock items to the Birmingham Metro. Free shipping outside the area, so they take care of you there. If you want to stop in Trussville in the store there in the Pinnacle Shopping Center area on Gadsden Highway, you can save 10% by mentioning the next round. Go online to imagecraft.net and use code TNR10 and save 10% there. That's ImageCraft, where you print more and spend less. Start at imagecraft.net.
All right. Alabama is hitting the portal, as you have to do in basketball. They got a 7-footer yesterday from Bucknell. He's the Patriot League Player of the Year. Noah Williamson, there he is there. Averaged 17 points, 7 rebounds per game. Big body inside there for Nate Oates and company. He makes a commitment. There were people leaving in the portal yesterday. Little T is like, hey, who are you for sure going to be back next year at Alabama? I said, I'm not for sure anybody will be back next year on any team anymore. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, I don't guarantee anybody comes back anywhere
really
anymore.
Can't, yeah.
Well, I mean,
because you get a pay raise when you hit the portal.
Yeah, I feel good that there's 5 or 6 guys from this roster you can say they will be back playing college basketball.
I would agree with that. Where are they playing, though, is a question.
That's right. Whether it's, rumors of Mo Diabate maybe to St. John's or staying, or Stevenson to North Carolina or staying, Wrightsell somewhere or staying. I mean, there's a lot. Phylon to the NBA or staying, Holloway staying,
Phylon is fascinating to me. Do you guys, if you were the final sway vote and you're representing Phylon and you're like, stay or go, what are you guys telling me?
I would stay.
I would too.
And get money. And I'm not saying stay at Alabama. I would say stay in college. But obviously I would love for him to stay at Alabama. But I watch him get the ball taken away from him by college kids all the time when he drives the lane, stops, looks to pass.
He can turn it over
and
some.
They reach in and just take it away from him.
Yeah.
And those are kids and not grown-ass men.
I think he's got some building to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's got to get stronger with the basketball, but that's just me. I'm not a basketball geek or guru.
And I've got a bad feeling for Phylon that he's going, and look, who knows how this thing will work out. We've seen guys that don't even get drafted that end up being superstars.
Yeah.
But if I'm Phylon, I come back, make close to 7 figures, refine that game, be a surefire first rounder next year.
Not close to 7 figures. Later in the show, I'll tell you what the market is right now. The Athletic talked to some insiders on what the best of the best in the portal is getting offers, what the average good player is getting offered, and I'll just say one phrase for you: NBA veteran minimum. Okay. When we come back, Stephen Pearl. Show brought to you by our friends at NASCAR. NASCAR fast, and there's nothing faster than the Talladega Superspeedway.
Absolutely. If you've never been, if you have lived here and you have never been, you are cheating yourself. It is such a fun show, whether you love or don't love NASCAR. It does not matter. The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR is Talladega Superspeedway. Another amazing show in April, the Beast of Talladega, 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed, incredible action at every turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Superspeedway, April 25th through 27th. Get your tickets now, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. Auburn Associate Head Coach Stephen Pearl is next.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Celebrate the best time of year, tournament time, with mybookie.ag. Sign up right now, code NEXTROUND, and receive a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, a $10 casino chip. Tournament time is here, so enjoy it even more by playing along at mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND on your initial deposit for a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, $10 casino chip. Don't get caught by the buzzer. Sign up now at mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
If you are a business that does a lot of printing, like a car dealership, mortgage company, real estate office, tax office, bank, school, or university, print more and spend less with ImageCraft. ImageCraft is located at 1151 Gadsden Highway in Trussville, just down from the Pinnacle Shopping Center, and online at imagecraft.net. They carry all the major brands like HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, and Xerox. Shop in-store, mention TNR for a 10% discount. Shop online at imagecraft.net with coupon code TNR10. ImageCraft. Print more, spend less.
Hey, you. Days warming up. Looking like spring. And at New Balance Birmingham, we've got the thing. What pops and what's fresh? Check the selects. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham. We got now.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for The Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Okay, we talked about how you beat Florida in the Final Four in the first segment. I will not share the secrets with Stephen Pearl. I'll let him figure it out on his own, but we broke the code last segment. Stephen, if you want to see it, man, go back and watch it. It's there for you on YouTube the whole time. But I have game planned it, and we laid it out last segment.
Right, Jim had the whiteboard out, and he's got it handled. What is up, Coach Stephen Pearl? Welcome in. Congrats on the Final Four. I'm sure it's been a whirlwind, but what a heck of an accomplishment.
Yeah, no, it was a great week last week, and, obviously, all happens really fast, but obviously happy to still be playing basketball.
Man, it's crazy because coming into the tournament, people ask you guys, what seems to be wrong? Are you alarmed at losing 3 or 4? And, domination up until, a little bit of that Michigan game, and then you guys ended up winning by double figures. You had Michigan State at arm's length the entire game. What's flipped from end of the season to what's going on now, or was it just what we thought? You were playing really, really good teams to end the season.
Yeah, nothing's flipped. You guys were all just panicking for no reason.
That's what we do.
And we lose at Texas A&M without our starting point guard, our best, on-ball defender, and obviously they had really good guards. We lost to Alabama at home on a last-second shot. In overtime, we lost to Tennessee in the SEC tournament. We didn't play great. So we lost to 3 really good teams, and everyone immediately starts to panic. So really nothing changed on our end. Honestly, our kids, didn't press the panic button. They just continue to trust what we do. And could we have played better? Of course, but great teams are going to make you not look as good as what you're supposed to look like, and that's just part of basketball. If you look at the games before that, we didn't play great against Arkansas. We didn't play great against Georgia. But since we won both those games, no one was freaking out because we won, right? Obviously, as soon as you lose, though, that whole thing, it all flips. And we knew that we still had that same team was in there. Obviously, winning the SEC a week early probably didn't help. But obviously, you're not going to push off winning the league a week early just so you can play better basketball. It's just you got to take it when you can. But yeah, I mean, Alabama State didn't play well. And I thought, obviously we talked about it last week. Ryan was, me and Dylan and BP all kind of calling the guys out. Kind of flipped on a light, switch. And I thought in Creighton, thought we played really well in that game. I don't think it was talked about enough. Creighton hit 11 threes and, we still win the game by double digits. First half of Michigan, we struggled. But the last 12 minutes, looked like Auburn basketball. And then, like you said, Michigan State ends up being a 6-point game, but that game was within 9 to 11 the entire game. So, I think our defense over the last 3 games has been really, really solid and has helped us, hold some pretty interesting offensive matchups at bay for the most part. None of those 3 teams, well, if you count Alabama State, no one's scored over 70 so far, but now you got a different animal in Florida, one of the best offenses in college basketball in the Final Four.
Before we talk about that game, I want to talk about maybe the best trait of this team. You can be deep and still have the same guys winning you basketball games all the time. But you guys are deep and different people step up big in different games, and that's a different kind of deep. And I just point to when Johni goes to the locker room. There's Chaney Johnson who comes in and you don't miss a beat. The score doesn't change with Chaney out there. Mm-hmm. And if Johni doesn't have his game, like maybe in the Michigan game for the most part, or another one, there's Pettiford or there's Denver Jones. You guys have not only depth, but depth of guys who step up big at times to win you games.
Yeah, I mean, we feel like we have 7 guys on the roster who at any moment could have a big game. You look at when Johni went down earlier in the season against South Carolina, Chaney Johnson comes in the next game and scores 17 against Mississippi State. And then, we go on the road and Tahad has a great game at Georgia. We beat 2 ranked teams that week without Johni and come back from down 9 with, at the end of the South Carolina game. So when Johni goes down, our guys really didn't panic, didn't really miss a step because we'd been there before. So we knew that we could, rely on Chaney late in that game and get him some of the same play calls that we do for Johni to get him post touches deep. But it's been a different guy. I mean, first game of the NCAA tournament, Miles Kelly basically carries us, to a win. Chaney and Tahad both played great off the bench. In round 2, Tahad, Chad, and Denver all played really well when Johni didn't have one of his best games. In the Sweet 16, Denver, Johni, Tahad all played, really well. And then obviously in the Elite 8 game, Johni was who he's been all season and was just that dominant force in the game, scoring 25 points and, just doing things on both sides of the ball. But you're right, Jim. It's like, it could be a different guy every night. And those guys impact the game in so many different ways. So it's been our strength all year, and it's obviously going to be something that has to carry us if we want to win, another really tough one on Saturday.
Auburn coach, associate head coach Stephen Pearl with us on the Shannara hotline. I'm going to guess the 2 most asked questions you're getting right now is, can you help me get tickets, and how's Johni? I do not need tickets, so I'll only ask you the second one. How is Johni now?
He'll sit out practice today. There's not a whole lot that we can do this week just in preparation. Like, got to watch a lot of film on the first matchup. Learn from the Michigan State and the Michigan games from this past week and what pertains to the Florida Scout. So it's more about getting our guys just getting their legs back because we played two really physical Big Ten teams in Michigan and Michigan State, and we exerted a ton of energy on the defensive end and even the offensive end to try and obviously run our stuff, to try and execute. So, BP said this yesterday, Janai's not going to practice today. He's going to take today off and just continue to rehab, the 7 different things that he injured on that one play. Just try and get back right as best he can. Cause at this point, there's not everything we do. There's not going to be a whole lot that's new that he can't watch and see. So the most important thing is just getting his legs back underneath him. Continue to manage some of the things that are bumped up on him right now, and as the week progresses, hopefully his status does as well.
Go back to that sequence. So 10.5 roughly left in the game. He goes down. It looked like he said, "I'm done." And then, his parents come down from the stands, his mom's crying, they all go back to the locker room, and, on the couch, I'm like, damn, like, done for today, done for the tournament, what's going on here? Then he comes back out, like, do you even have time to have any mini conversations right there on the bench? And when he comes back out, is there any hesitation like, okay, you've been clear, but do you really need to go back in right now?
Yeah, it goes back to how we practice. Like, this happened when I was at Tennessee. I slipped on a wet spot and got a full-on concussion. BP takes the team and moves them to the other end of the floor and continues practice while I'm back there unconscious. So anytime somebody gets an injury in practice, we immediately move practice to the other end of the floor while that player is being tended to. Because in these in-game situations, you can't sit there and linger on what just happened. You have to get on to the next play because regardless of if that player is going to be back or not, obviously in the next possession, they're not going to be there. So get on to the next play quick. So for us, we bring the guys in the huddle and we immediately start making our adjustments without Johni and not really worrying about, what's going on the other end, just trusting that Clark and our trainers and Dr. Goodlet are going to obviously do everything they can to evaluate him and try and get him back. He did walk over to the bench and he looked at me, he said, I'm done. So, he obviously felt like the severity of what it was, reached the level of he wasn't going to be back in that game. Goes back into the locker room. They do all the things necessary to check. And when Doc tells him and his parents, there's nothing structurally wrong, there's nothing broken, like you're going to be okay. Johni immediately tells Clark, all right, wrap this thing up, whatever you got to do, let's go back out there. Comes out of the tunnel and, walks up to me and he said, if you need me, I can go. Dylan Cardwell then immediately raises his hand for a sub because he was busting his ass for the last 4 minutes defensively. And Johni just walks right by me and goes and checks in. So I didn't even have time to tell him, like, whoa, hold on. He immediately saw Dylan needed one and checks himself back into the game. And obviously the pop in that arena when he starts walking by me was unbelievable. And then obviously he comes down and bangs a huge 3 and the place just goes absolutely wild. So it was a scary moment, but ended up being a really cool and memorable one.
Yeah, we'll need you to write that wording down for our 30 and 30 if you guys go on and win it, because we'll need the actual phrasing for the script when we do the interview there. Stephen Pearl is with us. I want to ask in 2019, and this isn't just Auburn. Coach K, I heard him this past week talk about Elite Eight to the Final Four. He said there's a bridge from the Elite Eight to the Final Four, and the Final Four is the promised land. That's Coach K at Duke. So it's not just – that's 18 Final Fours in that program. So it's not just for those programs that have 1 or 2 or 3. Elite Eight to the Final Four, that is the promised land. So you guys have been there now 2 times in 5 tournaments. This time, did you learn something about mentally preparing your team in the first one that maybe now that you're going back there again, that you coach up not just over that bridge in the promised land? Once we get to the promised land, there's more to do there. Did you learn anything going there the first time that you may approach it differently this time?
Yeah, I think they're 2 totally drastically different situations because last time we did this in 2019, obviously Chuma tears his ACL in the North Carolina game, and we're going into a Kentucky game where they have NBA players in PJ Washington, Tyler Hero, Keldon Johnson, Emmanuel Quickly, and then they're bringing guys off the bench like Ashton Hagans, Keldon Johnson. We'll look at for starters, but like that team was just unbelievable. So we obviously were wanting to go win the game, but expectations weren't relatively high because we knew that they'd just beaten us by 30 at full strength a few weeks ago. Like we just knew we had to go out there and compete and do everything we could to put ourselves in position to win a game. We did win the game. This year I felt was way different because we felt like we knew we were the better team. Like we knew we were better than Michigan State. We knew that if we played well enough, we could win the game. So our mindset was more so as we're supposed to win this game. We just got to do what we need to do to go out there, execute, and win it. As far as going into the Final Four, I think the first time you go, you're just like you're so amazed by everything that's going on, and you're so happy to be there that while you're still preparing for the game, like you get caught up in some things. So for us as a staff, having it been our second time, it's way more of a business as usual mindset for us. Understanding that while it's great that we're here, the job's not finished. And I think in 2019, we were so excited to have won the game and made it to the Final Four. While we still should have beaten Virginia, I think that this week will be way more. We'll be a little more locked in, I think, in preparation for the game, and we'll be able to tell our guys, like, listen, there's going to be a ton of media. There's a ton of extra stuff that you have to do outside of basketball that we weren't aware of the first time. So I think we'll be able to prepare our guys for just the amount of things that they're going to be asked to do over the next couple of days and not be overwhelmed by it, because we had no idea going in what to even expect. And, it's like when you go to the Alamo Dome, we're there for like 4 hours, I think, and you're only practicing for an hour of it. So it's a lot of things that, you aren't prepared for the first time that I think we have a better grasp of this time, on top of trying to get your families there and trying to get your tickets right. And, just all the different things that comes with advancing in this tournament. So I think us as a staff, we'll be able to have those conversations with our guys today and tomorrow and get them into a better place mentally going into the week.
You and Todd Golden are very good friends. In any other situation, I'm sure he texts you congrats, you text him congrats. What has it been like, though, when he's the actual opponent?
Yeah, I mean, I called him after the game. We FaceTimed, and I told him if you guys hadn't sucked so bad earlier in the season, you could have been the number 2 overall 1 seed or the number 3 overall 1 seed. So then we wouldn't have had to meet in the Final Four, and we both laughed about it. No, it's just obviously it's been fun to kind of be on this journey together in the league, and us winning the regular season title, them winning the SEC tournament title, the 2 best teams in the SEC. Clear-cut 2 best teams in the SEC made the Final Four. Obviously, it sucks that we got to play in the first game. We'd rather play on Monday. But, from this point forward, I'm not going to be calling them, and, we're not going to be having many casual conversations moving forward, because obviously it's all about us, going out there and obviously trying to get a little payback for what happened earlier in the season.
He was the basketball ops guy when you guys first got to Auburn. Did that include him running to get you guys lunch occasionally?
Todd was tasked with the difficult task of winning more and spending less. So we were staying at some of the junkiest hotels in the SEC because BP was trying to save some money. And every time we're in these towns, we're driving by these Holiday Inn Expresses or Courtyard Marriotts that we used to stay at, and we're just laughing because Todd would want to stay at a nicer hotel, and VP's like, nope, too expensive. We're not going out to eat at the nice steakhouses. Like, we're eating the hotel food. Like, we're going to spend less money while we win more. So, yeah, Todd was obviously in charge of all that stuff, all while trying to obviously having aspirations of being an assistant coach and then obviously a head coach. And kind of crazy that, he was here those first couple of years and what our program's grown to, and obviously, what he's been able to build on his own.
Also pretty wild that you guys have played all the teams in San Antonio. So on the other side of the bracket, when you look at Houston and Duke, how do you see this game playing out? How do those two match up with each other?
Yeah, it'll be interesting because obviously, I think they're both going to have a hard time scoring because Houston's obviously relentless defensively, but so is Duke. Like, they're so damn big. They got 5 guys that can switch 1 through 5, and you obviously see what they did to Alabama. Defensively, it's just a lot. And I think while Houston's a great team defensively, I think Duke probably has the edge offensively. Houston's going to try and limit as many possessions as possible and just junk it up as best they can. And if those shooters get it going, Houston, they can obviously hang in there as long as they need to with Duke. But obviously, you never want to count out a Kelvin Sampson coach team. He does as good of a job as anyone in our game. So I would anticipate that's an incredibly that's going to be a tight ball game for 40 minutes. It's going to be a matter of whose guards can make the most contested shots.
So, do you have tickets? Extras?
I am currently sending all my friends links to our ticket office to have to pay for their tickets because tickets are so tight right now. So I got about 25 people that are trying to come down to San Antonio, and I could barely get my wife and my daughter into the building. So it's a hot ticket, but. So no, to answer your question, Jim, I do not have tickets for you.
It's back-to-back days. Barkley had none either.
Yeah, you were
yesterday.
a lot nicer than Barkley about it.
Barkley was like, do not call me.
I heard part of the segment about Barkley waking up to you next to you. That was got a little interesting yesterday.
Yeah, first time he's been called. Next level.
What are we doing? I mean,
yeah. Well, you and I have only had one celebratory drink in our friendship. Barkley and I have had many drinks over the years. So.
And from what we've seen from Barkley, not a lot of spinners.
No. So yeah. I'm a nice guy. I love friendships. So glad to count you as one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Coach, again, congrats and best of luck. We look forward to talking with you next week about how it all plays out, and hopefully you're the guys holding up the trophy at the end.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys.
All right, Coach. Thank you. Take care. That is Associate Head Coach Stephen Pearl of the Auburn Tigers with us on the Shannara Hotline, Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys.
That is insane. That's the one thing that if you would have said the 2 major sports that we cover, men's basketball and college football, in both programs, Alabama and Auburn, if you would have said rank these when we started our show, like the one thing that will never happen is Auburn basketball winning a national championship.
Correct.
And they are legitimate 2 games away from it.
Yeah, we could be doing wild. That. We could be doing that show 1 week from now after an Auburn national championship in basketball. I think it's just insane. And Auburn basketball fans and Alabama basketball fans can relate to this. And some of them will not be honest with themselves. And I'll tell you what that is right after you tell us about our friends at Johnston RV.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV Center. They got, a price for just about everyone out there with approved credit as low as $129 a month. So anything from the toy haulers to the tow behinds, the fifth wheels, the motor homes, all that right there at Johnston RV Center. They can find a price for anybody, okay? So go see them in person, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, and see them online at johnstonrvcenter.com. And don't forget, RV warranty forever. Make sure you're covered lifetime on anything new and qualifying pre-owned at Johnston RV Center.
Sad reality in life, a lot of people's favorite moment of the day in the workday is lunch.
I love lunch.
Yeah. Who doesn't, right?
Yes.
It's, you're sitting here planning lunch right now. What about Odie's Tavern? We're going to be out there tomorrow night, the original location in Crestline. You can stop by either location, Crestline or Edgewood, and get an incredible lunch from our man Rodney Davis. He's been doing it for more than 3 decades, from the award-winning wings, delicious burgers, fantastic sandwiches, including the Diablo sandwich, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light, and, of course, those Odie's famous cup cocktails. Stop in, lunch or dinner, live music on Fridays and Saturdays. And remember, every Wednesday night, tomorrow night, we'll be at the original location for Odie's Team Trivia. Get in and see Will Haver and that great staff. It's Odie's Tavern, a Birmingham institution.
Most of you Auburn and Alabama fans will not honestly admit this to be true. But we used to catch heat from a friend of ours, Brian Passink, who would send us tweets or text during our radio days during this time of year when we would go, last night Alabama beat so-and-so, Tennessee 84-77, and blah, 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 scored 17. Now back to Alabama spring football, where the battle for the number 2 quarterback continues, and we would get into a 20-minute conversation about the backup quarterback. And I remember I was joking with him this past weekend that he would always blow us up, and he's like, "Listen, I loved you guys, but I just never understood how the backup quarterback battle was more interesting than regular season basketball."
Did you tell him what we said about him between the break? we love passing, but boy, he was a jerk about it. Like, he would just get so
Joe
protective.
Dean would do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
And Joe was as nice to us, and we count Joe a friend, but Joe Dean would do the same thing.
Skarbinski the same way.
Yeah.
But back then, we're mass communicators. That's our job, to communicate to the masses. More people cared about spring football than they cared about where the basketball programs were at that time. That is not the case anymore. We have barely talked any spring football during this whole run, and it's been that way for a couple of years now. It's different, and that's because of the job that Nate and Bruce have done. It just is different.
It is different. It obviously will never even be close when you look at football to basketball. But the fan
but
engagement.
Basketball to spring football is different. It is different. People are like, spring football out. Well, I'll figure it out after basketball is over with.
Yeah. Well, and I do think it has become a little more complicated with not knowing that where the hell people are going to be and rosters and all that kind of stuff.
Now there's no spring
but
games.
The interest in college hoops around here, it's completely flipped.
Yeah. It's insane.
Now, it wasn't entirely our fault. There was Tony Barbie shouldered a lot of the blame. It was a crap product.
Yeah.
Bruce Pearl made it a good product. And it took Bruce a minute to get it to a good product. The product was better in Tuscaloosa, but boy, Anthony Grant and Avery Johnson were just boring.
It was just so tough to watch.
It was just a boring product.
It was what it was. The whole was not the same thing.
Those two were Tennessee light.
Yeah. And Bruce Pearl came in and made it a good product, which it wasn't even boring. It was just bad. Made it a good product, and Nate Oates came in and made it not only a good product, but a more exciting product to watch.
I remember when Bruce got the job, we were doing the show in the upper studios overlooking beautiful Elmwood Cemetery.
Yes, I do remember.
And I remember saying, hey, Auburn, this guy will get Auburn to multiple Sweet 16s. And there was a former coach that gave me a call, and he said, you're insane.
Yeah.
It will not happen.
Yeah.
And now it's not multiple Sweet 16s.
But imagine
it's
how
multiple Final Fours. Now, I didn't see that.
No, imagine how absurd that would have been.
Yeah, no, that would have been absurd.
Crazy. Michelson viewing menu, top of the hour. Clay Travis will be with us. Brought to you by our friends at Michelson.
I just want to warn you, Tyler's got a ton of shit tonight.
We're back, baby.
Yeah, he's like, it's going to build every single day. By Friday, it's going to be a full segment itself. Michelson Laser Vision.
He didn't have anything the last 3 days, so I'm sure Wednesday through Friday.
At the end of the month, they don't add anything new.
Hey,
pace yourself, okay?
Hey, the new rivalry, right?
I know, I like it.
Yeah.
205-969-8100. That is the number that I called decades ago. Ask for Amy. Make sure you tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation, 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business, 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
All right, starting off tonight on the Paramount Network, you've got a little bit of a marathon. At 7 p.m., you can watch Tommy Boy, one of my favorite comedy movies. And then immediately after, you've got My Cousin Vinny.
Oh, so fantastic.
Yeah. My Cousin Vinny would be, I would flip those around with you, Tyler.
Yeah.
My Cousin Vinny is like a top 10 comedy to me. Tommy Boy, okay.
Both of those are really good. I like both of those, yes.
Yes. Next up on HBO, it's also available to stream anytime on Max, but if you want to catch it on the HBO channel, it's at 4:54 exactly. I don't know why they picked that time. I don't know how it times out like that, but it does. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. This is the prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, which was released back in 2013. Starring Tom Hardy, and this one stars Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, I like both of them. Maybe this one a little bit better.
I really liked this one.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people saw it in theaters, so watch it on streaming if you're interested. And then finally, we've got a bunch of new additions on Tubi. If you don't want to buy any more streaming services and you just want to watch something for free, they added a bunch of my favorite movies. You've got Kill Bill 1 and 2, Seven, Scarface, Silence of the Lambs, and The Thing.
Are those uncensored, like as they played in the theater when it's on Tubi? Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so how does Tubi make their money?
There's ads.
Yeah.
There's commercials.
So all those have commercials in them, but you don't have to pay for them. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Interesting.
That's what Tyler's watching. It's the Michelson viewing menu brought to you every day by our friends at Michelson.
Yeah, 205-969-8100. Again, for more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
And NASCAR is coming back to the Talladega Super Speedway. Again, I'll say it, and I will not quit saying this. If you grew up in this state, you've been around here any amount of time, or you're within the sound of our voice and have not visited Talladega, you're doing yourself a disservice. It is so entertaining, whether you like NASCAR or not. But NASCAR is coming back to Talladega Super Speedway, April 25th through 27th. 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every turn. Do not miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Super Speedway. It is April 25th through 27th. Get your tickets now. TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. Clay Travis is next.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation, 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you, 969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the next round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the next round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR is Talladega Super Speedway, and it's ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to the Talladega Super Speedway, you have to check it out. This beast is 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every single turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, April 25th through 27th. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. Don't miss the action. TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
What a great time of year to be online with our friends at MyBookie.ag, MyBookie.ag, where right now you get a major current sign-up bonus, a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip when using the code NEXTROUND. That's code NEXTROUND. We're talking about all the madness of March, the NBA playoff race, the start of Major League Baseball, and it's all for you right now online when using the code NEXTROUND. Go sign up today, MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
It's Clay Travis time. It's also Bo time, Brownie. Our friends at Bojangles gets us to our conversation with Clay.
Yeah, lunch is coming up. There are a lot of difficult decisions that you have to make throughout the day. One of them can be an easy decision. Choose Bojangles for lunch. And right now, when you're at Bojangles, don't forget to ask for those Bo Bites. What is a Bo Bite, you ask? Well, it's bite-sized hand-breaded chicken, fried to crispy perfection, perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. It's Bo Bite. Toughest decision will be that house-made ranch, that sweet and spicy honey pepper sauce, one of their 6 sauces. Which one you pick there? Head to your nearest Bojangles today. Discover the dippable, shareable, craveable Bo Bites. It's Bo time. Clay Travis joins us at this time each week, founder of Outkick. You see him on Fox as well. Welcome in, Clay. Hope you're doing well.
I am. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic. Clay is always with us on the Shannara hotline. As a Tennessee fan, like almost any fan base has like tons of disappointing moments. I know it's kind of a running joke about Tennessee giving you a ton of disappointing moments. Where does Sunday's loss to Houston rank? With a chance to go to the Final Four, and then you guys are done before basically the second media timeout in the first half.
Yeah. I think playing poorly in the first half is disappointing. I think, look, the 4 best teams all season ended up in San Antonio. I think there's an argument, and I don't think it's a crazy one, that Tennessee was the 5th best team. And if they had played, sort of their A minus B plus game, I think they could have beaten Houston if Houston didn't play that well. But it's not overwhelmingly crazy frustrating, because I do think, unlike in past years where you could walk, a season would end and you'd have a lot of really good players and you'd be like, man, we're going to have to rebuild now. I think we have this crazy perpetual free agency in college basketball, which is even crazier, I think, than college football. I don't know if you guys would agree with that, but it only takes a couple of guys to really kind of turn your team from mediocre into elite in college basketball. Whereas, yeah, if you get the best quarterback in college football, that can change things. But the rosters are so big in college football that any 1 or 2 guys typically don't make a huge difference. So it doesn't really feel like, given the fact that Tennessee has tons of NIL money and has a top 5 attendance program, and whatever you think about Rick Barnes, I mean, I think it's fair to say he's a top 10 coach in college basketball. So it feels like, if you look at what they did with Dalton Connect and Chaz Lanier and bringing those guys in for 1 year, it feels like Tennessee will go out, find 2 or 3 elite talent guys and plug them right back in with the ones that are returning, and probably be right back where we are now. So I don't know. It feels kind of different. Now, is it disappointing not make the Final Four? Yes. But I feel like Tennessee is a top 10 basketball job when Rick Barnes retires. I think we talked about this with you guys a few weeks ago. You were like, and I don't know that you ever would have said Tennessee's a better job than Indiana, for instance, but I think it pretty clearly is right now. And we'll see. So it's disappointing, but I think, Tennessee was probably the 5th or 6th best team in college basketball this year, and that's kind of where they finished.
Clay, in your lifetime, you've seen football win a national championship. You've seen baseball win a national championship. It's just amazing, because I don't even know if there's an argument. I mean, Tennessee is the best program that has never been to a Final Four, and how they haven't gotten to a Final Four is just, it's baffling.
Yeah, well, it's not only that. They've been number 1 a bunch of years, right? So I would argue it's harder to be ranked almost number 1 as many times as Tennessee has. And I think it's 5 or 6 different seasons now in the last 15 or 20. Harder to do that than it is to go to a Final Four. But it seems to be the case that when Tennessee has a really good team, and plays well, the bracket holds, right? They have to play all the best teams in their bracket. And when they don't play well, when things don't go as you would hope, the bracket falls apart and they play their worst. I mean, it's really kind of crazy. Usually, you would get in some year as a 3 or 4 seed. Now, to be fair, Tennessee's never been a 1 seed, so they've never actually been seeded to make the NCAA tournament. So you can argue in some ways that a lot of times they have just kind of fulfilled expectations. But when you've been to 11 Sweet 16s and you've been to 3 Final Fours, you would hope that one of those years you would have punched through and gotten to the Final Four. But again, in the NIL era, given the resources that Tennessee is going to be able to bring to bear, it does feel kind of inevitable to me. And by the way, I don't think there's any doubt. I don't know if you guys would argue with me. If Bruce Pearl is still at Tennessee, which I wish he were, right? I don't think there's any doubt Bruce Pearl would have won a national championship at Tennessee, maybe multiple national championships with the way he had things rolling. And he may win one at Auburn this year. So, I think Duke should be a substantial favorite over everybody. But it wouldn't be shocking at all if Auburn managed to win a championship.
Clay Travis is with us right now with a 118 BPM as he works his way at a beautiful site. I don't know. Is that 30A? Is that where you are today?
No. I'm in South Beach.
Oh.
So I'm walking towards my radio studio in South Beach here.
Yeah.
So I'm down here. I'm playing yesterday I played the Trump course for Tunnel to Towers. Great charity organization. And this week, Thursday, I'm playing the Live Big Miami Doral Pro-Am on Thursday. So I'm down in South Florida for the week.
I mean, my goodness. I remember when you only wore open-toe shoes.
Well, to be fair, I am wearing flip-flops right now.
Yeah.
So
not surprised.
Yes,
of course.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Hey, you got your finger on the pulse of America all the time. Some would call you the voice of America. Do we not hate?
That's fair.
Do we? Yes. Yeah. I mean, do we not hate Duke anymore? Does America hate Duke still?
It is a little bit interesting. I think, follow me along on this universe here. I think in NIL, when everybody is paying players, it's hard to argue that somebody has a competitive advantage or gets treated differently. And it felt like Duke was praised on a level that nobody else was for doing things all the way right and everything else. And you guys remember, I mean, a huge part of college athletics were the scandal stories. I mean, I'm down in Miami. Do you guys remember when the Nevin Shapiro story popped about, taking players to strip clubs and all these things? How quaint does that sound when we basically have not even yearly free agency? We have double transfer portals every year. And so you're getting into a situation where I think while it's maybe not ideal for college athletics, it's in many ways a very even playing field. And I think it doesn't feel like Duke has an advantage over other teams now. And so I think that kind of factors in. I also think, and I would bet, I know he hasn't had, sorry about the traffic here. As I mentioned, I'm in South Beach. And I feel like Zion was the most liked Duke basketball player ever in terms of the nation kind of responding to him in a really positive way. He was almost the anti-Christian Laettner. And I feel like since then, when Duke went and started getting the one-and-done players, I feel like they've become more likable on the national stage, if that makes any sense. And that has factored in a big way. I think Cooper Flagg, not particularly dislikable. I think in general he's kind of more close to Zion than he is to Christian Laettner. And so with the NIL money, I still think people are going to be rooting overwhelmingly for Houston against Duke, and then I think Florida or Auburn against Duke. But I think the hate feels a little bit more forced, if that makes sense.
Charles says in the chat room, the MyBookie.ag chat room, this is so true. The irony is, now that it is legal to pay players, Miami can't do it enough.
Yeah.
Like they were.
Yeah,
they were
true.
They were
and
doing
that's the argument. That's the argument they made, right?
Yeah.
For people who don't remember that Yahoo Sports story, they were like, yeah, we get it's a scandal that we took guys to strip clubs and out on boats. But they're like, that's what we have to do because we can't compete with the SEC money. Now, I do think they've got some decent money. I mean, Carson Beck isn't going hungry down here. He's making $4 million a year or more. But I do think that really, I mean, I don't know about you guys. I think it kind of kills the fun, a little bit of recruiting. Maybe it was always a little bit of a sham. Like, oh, I'm going to your school just because I loved the, math program and I love the quad. And, the people are so great. And, they may have always been getting paid. But now I feel like when you don't get a guy, most of the time you're like, yeah, somebody else wanted him more. They paid more. And so I think it takes away a little bit the romanticism that we were sold, which was, hey, this guy's picking your school because he loves the fan base and he loves the academics and he loves the coaching staff and all these other things. Most of the time, it comes down now in college athletics to what Charles Barkley used to say, which I always thought was a great line. He said, it's amazing how often God tells a player to go sign with the team that offers him the most money. That used to be a really common thing. Guys in free agency would sit back and be like, I just had to pray to God and God told me, that I should go to X team or whatever. And it is true, man. It's amazing. Very few times does God tell somebody to take less money.
Clay, we came across a disturbing story yesterday in Trash. I don't know if you and Buck talked about this or if you've seen this, but MIT did a tech review on scientists that have unveiled a plan to grow soulless, spare human bodies that can be used for medical experiments and even meat.
I mean, first of all, that doesn't sound very ideal in the larger context. I don't know. We have reached, not that my tech abilities were ever very high, but we have reached the point where I don't understand anything or how anything works. My kids make fun of me. I can barely put the television on now. I don't understand what's going to happen with AI. I understood the internet. I obviously made a decent living on the internet. But I don't understand how in the world AI is going to be applied in the years ahead. I will say, that sounds super negative. I think I came on with you guys and talked in a positive way about the Waymo driverless vehicle that I got into in San Francisco recently and how I feel like that's going to change the world. So that to me looks like a super positive, I don't know about soulless, organ harvesting, but I do know that in general, the overall breakdown, when 42,000 people die every year in a car, I don't think it's wild to believe that in the years ahead, people are going to think it's crazy that anybody ever went to the grocery store and never came home, right? So I'm going to focus on the positives that I can kind of understand a little bit, and that's one side there, as opposed to, soulless body harvesting, which is way above my pay grade, frankly.
All right. Hey, enjoy South Beach. Enjoy all the golf you're about to play, and we'll catch up with you again next week. All right. See you, Clay. Bye.
You guys still got me?
Yeah. Well, we were wrapping up, though. We just said have a good week. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will do. I'll be back home. I'll be back home next week.
Okay,
so
good.
I'll talk to you guys then.
All right, man. See ya. Thank you, Clay. Clay Travis with us from South Beach on the Shannara hotline, the Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys hotline.
Yeah, and the show being brought to you today by our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. That is Greg from Pell City. Some storms through yesterday morning, early hours. If you had any storm damage, there's only one name to remember. That's Greg. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531. 542-3531. By the way, he's got a builder's license as well, so he can handle some repairs to your home if you had storm damage. Not just to your roof, other things as well. He'll take care of you. But the roofing is what Storm Restoration Roofing is built on. When there's no storms in the area, he'll give you a free, no-cost roof inspection, absolutely free when you call him up, 205-542-3531. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. Storm repairs, roof replacements, everything in between. He does it all. He and his wife run the company. He's got children and children and son-in-laws that are on the staff that can help you out. I mean, you feel like a stepkid sometimes when you marry your daughter, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Family members on there.
It's a great roofing service. It's the best in the business. Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531. Greg actually pays more when I mess up. Greg from Pell City, because these stick with you. Greg from Pell City on Facebook. It is Storm Restoration Roofing.
Kids. My favorite is when you stumble on something in Greg's family, and he's always like, man, my phone just blew up. Jim was talking about my ex-wife.
Which one of your kids is adopted? Somebody call Greg. Ask him which one of your 10 kids are adopted.
Greg's stepkids.
Which one's singing Annie in the play tonight? All right. So, do we hate Duke? Still?
It's
I'll let
weird.
You answer that question.
You brought that up. Like, I don't feel like Cooper Flagg is the hated Duke white guy in the same terms that Grayson Allen was and Bobby Hurley was and Christian Laettner was. Like, Duke's always had that hated white guy that's the try-hard and, but I don't feel that Cooper Flagg is that guy as good as he is.
I brought this up yesterday. Growing up, that was probably my most hated team. And John Shire just gives out a different feel than Mike Krzyzewski. And I think a lot of it, I think Clay does have a good point because, their first one and done was Kyrie Irving. And people were blasting Mike Krzyzewski because of all of the shots he took at John Calipari about going out and getting one and dones. And now everybody's got to do it. So I think it is more digestible that you only have to have these great players for 1 year as opposed to 3 or 4 years. I heard a discussion about Christian Laettner this morning, as one of the greatest college basketball players of all time. I mean, he was probably the most hated player of all time. Is that fair?
I would say so. Yeah.
I think it's in the conversation for sure.
I mean, he was definitely one of the best, and then he was one of the most hated. But I think because you only get these guys really for a year, and I do think Shire, now, if Shire starts winning multiple national championships, he probably will become a little annoying.
He seems a little more appetizing than Coach K was.
I mean, Dan Hurley would be the perfect Duke coach, and then everybody could just continue to hate Duke.
Yeah, if Krzyzewski had retired and said, I love John, but we want to hand it over to Dan Hurley, it never would have changed.
Never.
Yeah. Nope. And every game would be on national TV because people would tune in to hate watch.
And by the way, they'd be just as successful, if not more. I mean, it's hard to be more successful than what Shire has done already. He's already got 2 Elite Eights and a Final Four under his belt.
Yeah, but I think, if you did your best active coaches, Shire is one of these guys that's trending up, maybe a top 10 guy for a lot of people. But, I mean, Hurley and Self are already at the top of the list.
But I do think Shire, maybe this is some of it, is I think people historically have accepted how difficult it is to be the man after the legend. And you guys tell me one you can remember that started this successfully. Well, let me take that back. No. You tell me. I mean, one that replacing a legend that is.
I would say Les Miles, but I don't think Nick Saban was a legend at that point.
He was. I mean, it was one national championship and some fairly average years around that national championship at LSU, honestly. I mean, I can't think of one where it has started this well.
But let me say this. Year one for Shire, it was, they went to the second round of the tournament. They were 27-9. That's kind of Kalen DeBoer year one, right?
A little bit. But then Elite Eights.
Yep.
Final Four. I mean, he has kept the train rolling now.
Well, I would say, though, by year 3, a completion of year 3, if Kalen DeBoer hasn't played for a national championship, there's going to be a lot of Alabama fans that are uneasy.
I would agree. And probably the same would have been true for Shire at Duke. But now Shire has got an opportunity to play. I think once you've made the Final Four, this is number 18 for Duke.
Yep.
So they expect that, obviously. But I think once you've made it, I think any pressure that might have been on John Shire to replace Krzyzewski is now gone. Now, he's going to have to win a national championship at some point. I'm just saying I don't know that it's got to be this year. Like, if they don't close the deal this year, I don't think anybody's like, this Shire guy can't cut it.
Yeah.
I think he's proven he can cut it.
But, Auburn will hang a big banner for their second trip like Alabama did for their first trip. They hang banners for Final Fours, even at places like Duke and North Carolina. But they've got 18 of them. North Carolina's got 21 of them. But you got to hang the big one. You got to hang the national champion at those places. And eventually, if Auburn goes back enough, you'll have to win one eventually down there, or people will be like, man, just the Final Four again. Man, we got to win one of these sometime. Eventually, if you go to enough of them.
Eventually. I mean, I'm sure Izzo probably hears a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
I mean, it's a very long while.
I said yesterday, it feels like he's ending badly.
it's hard to say badly.
Yeah.
I mean, they did overachieve this year.
Yeah.
They did. The portal's open. You heard Clay talk about it. Everyone's talked about it so far on the show. Let's get into a little portal news before Seth Greenberg joins the show to talk more Final Four. It's brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. Hot or cold, that's how the portal runs.
Yes, sir. Call the guys at Hemp Hill today, whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business.
Yes, sir. It's like Jim, that was not a good transition. I'm just going to say yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 205-229-2090. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys here awaiting your call. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Okay, the guy I wanted for the beloved Alabama Crimson Tide.
Out of the portal?
Out of the portal to bring him back home to Tuscaloosa, where he was at Bryant High School. Is that a real high school? Bryant High School.
That is, Paul Bryant High. They just won the state championship.
I wanted Kennesaw State's Adrian Woolley, big guy.
Yep.
Guard, 18 points, best scorer in that league. I wanted him to come back to Tuscaloosa.
Antoine Petway, man. Petway could deliver a guy back home.
Adrian Woolley chose Louisville yesterday and Pat Kelsey.
Tough loss for you, Jim. Good him come back home.
Kelsey, he's got some momentum. Your ACC Coach of the Year. They were one of the biggest surprise teams from how bad they were in 23-24 to how good they were this year. Boy, he starts doing damage in the portal. That's a big brand.
Another guy I wanted to come back to Tuscaloosa, not back to Tuscaloosa, to come to Tuscaloosa, was a guy that you'd see late night on the CBS Sports Network. Not just Dan, he's Dudan. Dudan Thomas. UNLV point guard, 6'1", 15 a game, really good point guard, distributor of basketball. He chose LSU.
Okay.
Dudan chose LSU.
Yeah, you're 0 for 2.
And they also got the big guy, who I can't say his last name, from Mississippi State at LSU. Basically, everybody that covers basketball says if you have heard the rumblings that LSU is going to pay and help Matt McMahon out to get a roster down there, these are the indicators. As the Field of 68 put it, this is the flashing neon sign that LSU is open for business, these two kids.
Well,
where is Josh Hubbard in the portal?
Hopefully he's in the portal.
Yeah, I'm saying, I haven't heard that he is. I think it would be interesting, though, if he was to have some people call.
And we've seen the guy can score. Right?
Yeah.
So those are a couple of guys that that were in the portal that are going to an SEC school or to Louisville and not Tuscaloosa there. By the way, Seth Greenberg next. Here are the numbers. If you're a top line player, not the best of the best, but a top line portal player, the pricing, the offering has doubled. If you're one of the top line players, you're getting a $1 million to $2 million offer. The best of the best are $2.5 to $3 million offers in the portal is what you're getting. They didn't give a name, but the one guy who hit the portal, who's considered to be one of the best in the portal, got multiple $3 million offers on his first day of being in the portal, which means he probably got them before he was in the portal, which is why he went in the portal.
Correct.
The NBA minimum salary for a veteran, that the least you can pay a player in the NBA is $3 million a year.
So they're getting the veterans minimum.
They're getting veterans minimum offers
it's
now.
Crazy.
In the portal in college basketball. And people are like, well, why do they hit the portal? Well, it's like when you change a job, that's when you get your biggest pay raise.
Correct.
When you leave one company to another, or when there's somebody that wants you at another company, and you're able to go back to your boss and saying, hey, I'm going to go over to Tech U over here and leave you at Tech Central. And Tech Central says, well, I'll tell you what, I'll pay you this much if you stay, and you get more money that way. That's why you hit the portal.
Well, you look at a guy like Hunter Dickinson, who I think might have got the most out of the portal leaving Michigan to Kansas 2 years ago. So 2 years under Bill Self, he was making 7 figures in both of those years. What did that equate to? I think 2 tournament wins.
Yeah, so the portal is open and flying. Let's continue our conversation. Seth Greenberg joins us now.
Yeah, the ESPN college basketball analyst, Coach Greenberg. You see him on ESPN Game Day. They've made several visits to our state of late, now that we are a big basketball state here in the state of Alabama with teams in the Final Four every year. Coach is always kind with his time. We appreciate him coming on with us. First of all, Coach, welcome in. Hope you're doing well today.
Any better, I couldn't stand it. Just had a little grandson yesterday, so life is good. Going to see him this afternoon and then be off to San Antonio.
Oh, congrats on that. How many grandchildren is that for you?
That's number 5. We've got 3 boys, 2 girls. We've got a full team.
So, got a starting 5 now. Got to work on that bench depth next, Coach. You got to work on that bench depth.
Out of my control.
I want to ask you, you're a guy that coached a long time, so you know programs. Do people, you think, nationally understand that Bruce Pearl took what was the worst program in the SEC and has now gone to 2 Final Fours with it? Do you think that's appreciated nationally?
Oh yeah, in terms of national media, I don't look at myself as a member of the media. You guys are members of the media. I'm just a fired basketball coach talking ball. So in terms of the respect from the coaching community and what he's been able to do and the program and the consistency that he's able to do it with, how they play, their preparation, their execution, his ability to evaluate up, which is a gift. Yeah, it's well respected. Now, I can't speak for the gurus. I mean, the gurus are the gurus, but those are the insiders and those kind of guys that have, not like you guys, but because you guys are, based right in Birmingham. But I mean, these national guys, I mean, they could all have an opinion one way or another. I don't really pay much attention to them.
Coach, I can't really ask you what has surprised you through this tournament because we've got all ones for the first time and the only time since 2008. But if I was to ask you, would there be a surprise team of these 4 if they were to win the next 2 games and cut down the nets?
Man, that's hard. I don't think there would be. I mean, to me, each one of these teams has been number 1 this year. Each one of these teams basically had a little bit of detour and got themselves back on track. Each one of these teams, you could almost create kind of a circle of influence where they all kind of are connected somehow or some way. No, I don't think there's an underdog. I mean, here's the deal. You look at just, and the other thing is no one's relying on freshmen except Duke. I mean, you guys, obviously Bedford, but I mean, he's surrounded by all those 23 and 24-year-olds. Duke's got the 3, freshmen that have our main impact on their team. But then look at the other guys that surround him. Tyrese Proctor playing the best basketball he's played, getting good minutes out of Caleb Foster. Sion James gives them leadership, and the decision John had to put him in as a starter over Caleb Foster and still keep Foster engaged. Malik Brown. To me, there is no sleeper in this Final Four. To me, it's good on good, man. I mean, this is the way you want. We can talk about Cinderella all we want. I want to see good on good. I want to see the best teams, their body of work during the course of the season. I want to see the best teams going at it. Different styles of basketball. There's no doubt about it. Great storylines. I mean, how about Bruce and Steven and Kelvin and Kelvin and Kellen? Talk about the 2 old guys, the 2 young guys. Talk about Florida playing their best basketball at the end of the season, then they struggle a little bit, except Walter Clayton happened. You talk about the Houston defense and the relentlessness of how they play. I mean, as a coach, as a guy that loves watching good ball, man, this is an incredible Final Four.
Absolutely. I was there at Neville when Florida beat Auburn. How does Auburn beat Florida? How does Florida lose this game? What do you have to do if you're Bruce Pearl and Steven coming up with a game plan to beat so many weapons with Florida?
Yeah. No one loses the games. Teams have to go win. They got to take better care of the ball. I mean, they pitched it all over the place. They got to take better shots. Their shot selection was bad. So if you pitch it around and you take bad shots, what does that impact? Your defensive transition. Think about Clayton's threes. Most of Clayton threes came off a transition. So, you got to take care of the ball. And then I think Johni, you got to play through Johni. The one thing, and I've said it to Bruce, so I'm not going at him, they got to play through Johni, not just early in the game. Then they kind of, oh, yeah, this is pretty good. Johni scored, he scored. And then everyone goes, well, wait a second. Let's play through him, then they'll double him and we'll kick it out. Florida played him one-on-one, and Congdon's length bothered Johni Broome. They sat on that right shoulder, forced him back the other way, wasn't himself. But the most important thing is take care of the ball and then take care of the ball, good shots, set your defense, and then have some – they didn't have great discipline in that game. Those open side ball screens, those open side dribble handoffs. I watched the game last night. Those 2 areas they did not do a great job with. So I'm sure Bruce is going to address that, and they're going to come up with a plan. No one game plans better than Bruce Pearl. I mean, no one plans better than Bruce Pearl. He is absolutely a savant in game plan.
Coach Seth Greenberg, ESPN, with us on the Shannara Hotline. You mentioned Walter Clayton. He's maybe the best player in this tournament right now. We just saw it with Alabama where they played a great player and Cooper Flagg. Flagg didn't beat Alabama, but Alabama did not defend the other 4 because they were so focused on Flagg. How does Auburn avoid that? I mean, can Florida kind of bait you into that maybe, that you're so focused on Clayton that now all of a sudden the guys inside are open?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, you got to commit, especially at the end of the game. You better commit to Walter Clayton, man. I mean, like we've seen it. I mean, if you don't commit to, he's going to make some crazy shot. I mean, that last shot he made where he dribbled out and just elevated up and knocked down that. I mean, that was criminal. You get arrested for making that shot. I mean, like that was ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, you've got it. You know, Cooper Flagg. I thought Alabama had great matchups on Cooper Flagg. I thought Grant Nelson and Diabate were good matchups on Cooper Flagg, to be honest with you. Yeah, you can't let him beat you. But then, you know, if you take him out, like Houck made those 2 threes. How about the pass that Clayton threw to Houck for that big 3 on the right wing? So, yeah, late game, you got to take care of him. I think you got to show 2 on the ball. I think that's the concern for me in terms of Auburn. What's their ball screen defense going to be like? Are you going to adjust it depending on who's coming off the screen? Because I think you got to, you know, they down a lot and they play drop coverage in the middle of the floor with Johni. I think Johni's got to be up on some of those screens, because if he's not up on those screens and Clayton comes off those screens, he's going to jump up and shoot it. So I think that's kind of probably a decision that Bruce is going to have to make. If, you know, you got it, what I call touching, you can basically string it out by being at the level of the screen. If you drop too far down, that puts a lot of pressure on the guy on the ball getting over the top and still being able to contest. So I'm really interested to talk to Bruce and to see what he does in that situation.
Hey, sticking with the outstanding individuals, when you look at Clayton, you look at Flagg, you look at Broome, you've evaluated talent all your life. If you had to, and I'm not talking about next level, I'm talking about for this weekend, if it was playground and you had the first overall pick, who's your guy?
If it was playground, it would be Clayton. I think. Although it's a toss-up to Clayton, because, I mean, like, you know, in playground, the first guy that gets the ball is going to be, there's a good chance he's going to go make a play. I mean, like, yeah, Johni would like to bring it up, but I think someone will probably have to get it to him. Cooper can do that, but he's probably not as explosive off the just coming up and jumping up and shooting a jumper in your face. So, it's just a plain pickup at Rucker Park. I might have to go with Walter Clayton. I don't know what the big park is in Birmingham, but if there's a park where back in the day, because I know no one plays outdoors anymore, but back in the day, there has to be, I mean, there's been great hoop in Birmingham. So there has to be an outdoor park where, like, the best guys went and just hooped. Where would that place be?
Well, listen.
Not that any 3 of you guys played in it.
Right. Nice shot.
About as historic as it gets. You were at the game at Boutwell. We did the game on TV on the stream there.
Yeah, I love that place.
Yeah, so we talked with you at Boutwell. You were there. It seems like forever ago, by the way, but it was just at the start of the season. That's about as historic as it gets. That's in Birmingham. So maybe we're at Boutwell.
I love that. I tell you what, that was big time. I thought that was an incredible event. I thought that was great. I don't know if those guys have as many sponsors as you guys have, though. I mean, you got gear, you got soft drinks, you can throw a party. I mean, you can, like, make a couple of. I mean, you guys have this thing figured out pretty good.
Yeah. We're trying, Coach. We're trying to make a living here.
Wait till you start doing live reads on College Game Day. It'll be great.
That's right. Coach, again, congrats on the grandchild. Very, very happy for you, and enjoy San Antonio. As always, we appreciate your time.
And you guys, I follow you guys. You guys do a great job.
Oh, thank
you really
you,
do.
Coach.
You do a
Thank
great
you.
job of, obviously getting Steven and the guys. You're fun to listen to, and you're easy to work with. So I really enjoy it.
Well, that means a tremendous amount coming from you. We
Thank you,
greatly appreciate
Coach.
it, Coach.
Enjoy San Antonio.
Yeah, enjoy it, Coach. We appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.
You got it.
That is Coach Seth Greenberg on the Shannara Hotline. That made my day, man. I like Coach.
I know.
He's a fun guy. I like that show, and he does a great job.
I always cheered for him to make the tournament.
Tough
back in the
job.
day.
I mean, that Virginia Tech job, kind of like what we have with Auburn.
A little bit, it's
he was on the bubble every year,
all the time.
But again, exceeding probably what that program.
I mean, I can't ever remember. I remember Dell Curry back in the day being really good.
Yeah.
Well, like, do you think
they wouldn't give Steph a scholarship, which is kind of amazing. How good could they have been with Steph Curry?
Do you think Buzz Williams is a good basketball coach?
Yes.
I think he is.
I mean, he made one Sweet 16 there in 5 years and got out as quick as he could.
I think that's the only Sweet 16 I can remember. Maybe Dale Curry was there back in the 80s.
Maybe so.
And having seen game day behind the scenes this year in Tuscaloosa, Taylor saw him in Auburn, seen him on the reg here. Does a really, really good job broadcasting as well. Seth Greenberg with us on the Shannara hotline. Shannara also bringing you as part of the show today, where you can jump in there with Alexander Shannara trial attorneys.
That's right. Whatever your case, they are headquartered right here in Birmingham, 24 years. They've grown to more than 150 lawyers, supported by more than 500 dedicated team members. Their elite attorneys have recovered more than $2 billion, maintaining Alexander's core values: integrity, mastery, passion, and success. That's the core values there. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call the Alexander Shannara trial attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case.
You know, about a month ago, interestingly enough, I was at Shannara's offices, and one of his employees came up to me and he said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about Dr. B. How legitimate is Dr. B?" And I was like, you know, I can't make this up. I mean, the facts are the facts. First couple of weeks, months we started this thing, I noticed I was thinning out. I called Dr. B. Since then, I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch, and my hair has more than doubled in thickness. That is the facts. If you're looking to maintain, you want to be preemptive here, you want to grow some back, our man Dr. B can do it for you. T3 has that new test. So easy, painless, affordable, takes 4 seconds to perform. It's going to show which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. There are over 10 categories of agents they use, knowing they will work for you. They will custom compound these agents for you in pill or topical form. You pick and choose which agents you want. Men and women ordering Hims, other products online, don't even know if they work. Stop wasting your money and critical time while you're losing your hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come see Dr. Beckenstein, that great staff, find out what will work for you. Call, schedule the consultation today. Tell them the next round sent you. 205-319-0316, or again, for all the information, t3hair.net.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
I'm attorney Alexander Shannara, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Celebrate the best time of year, tournament time, with MyBookie.ag. Sign up right now with code NEXTROUND and receive a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. Tournament time is here, so enjoy it even more by playing along at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND on your initial deposit for a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. Don't get caught by the buzzer. Sign up now at MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. but it's only here for a limited time. So try chicken and Bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR, Talladega Superspeedway is ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to this track, you've got to come check it out. 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Superspeedway. It's April 25th through the 27th, and you can get your tickets right now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. That's TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Back with you on the next round. We appreciate Seth Greenberg for joining us on the show. We'll get to our football spotlight later on, next hour. Gary Danielson announced his retirement while you were gone. Our spotlight today is going to be your least favorite football announcer who is an analyst of all time. So I'll give you time to think about that for about 30 minutes or so. The show being brought to you by our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag, as we get ready for the Final Four coming up this weekend.
Yeah, code next round when you go to mybookie.ag, where right now you will find the Duke Blue Devils, a 5-point favorite over the Houston Cougars. You will find the Auburn Tigers, a 2.5-point underdog, as they take on the Florida Gators there in the Final Four. You can play those games right there at mybookie.ag. Also, Major League Baseball, the Braves looking for their first wins.
What?
Their first win.
First
singular.
win?
First win
Is
through
your
5 games.
microphone working? The Braves?
It is. You got Dustin May and Chris Sale on the mounds today for the Dodgers and the Braves. May, a 139 favorite. Is that large in a regular season game? It's about normal for a Dodgers game.
Yeah.
Braves plus 118 in that situation.
And I think these prices probably continue to shrink up a little bit just playing the do factor.
Yeah, I mean, at some point they're going to win, right?
The worst record in baseball at 0-5.
I've got Profar under 0.5 home runs today.
Yeah, I would take
I'd
that.
I'd play it for the next 80 games if I were you.
Yeah. I mean, why? I don't understand.
I don't either.
I mean, there had to be buzz in the league that maybe he was juicing a bit, right?
But you have to know what supplements are going to get you flagged and ultimately busted.
80 games, and I didn't know this. Emily Grace and Josh will have another pennant Grace coming up at 12:15 live Central Time today here on the platform. I didn't know this, but because of his suspension of 80 games, he's not eligible for the postseason.
Whoa. So even if he comes back and tears it up for the last 100 and he can't play in the postseason at all.
And
like they can't
it.
put him on the postseason roster.
I saw it on the MLB Network TV 5 down here lower right. It said not eligible for postseason. And I didn't know that until EG educated me last night.
I didn't know that either.
I thought if you're just on the roster when you come back, look.
I mean, time served is 80 games. I mean, why do you just not lay it out as 80 games and any postseason action?
Yeah, I think it. See if it says this as it continues the ticker there.
Will not be eligible for postseason if Braves qualify. That is crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah. So she told me that last night, and I was like, well, what a wasted year.
Yeah.
What a wasted year of that 3-year, $42 million contract.
Yeah.
Oh, just a disaster.
Wow. Anyway, mybookie.ag, code next round. When you sign on with code next round, you make your initial deposit. You get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000 and a $10 casino chip right there at mybookie.ag. That is with code next round, mybookie.ag, code next round.
Hey,
Smuff says that punishment also should come with the eligibility to have a contract voided. I kind of agree with him.
I do too.
Like if I'm a franchise and you do this,
yep,
I
should be able to void your contract.
I mean, you have different clauses in contracts. I mean,
I'm assuming the players' union keeps you from putting that clause in, though. When you think,
yeah, I would think, but you've got a morality clause, right?
Yeah, I guess they would have agreed on that one, but they're, because there are, I guess, supplements you could take that.
Well, I mean, are there certain jobs if you test positive for cocaine, are you fired?
Probably.
I would
so.
imagine airline pilot,
cop.
But I mean,
EMT. I mean,
yeah.
I assume there are a lot.
I mean, that's what we've made the joke before. People used to ask us, do they drug test in radio when we were in radio? I'm like, no, they want to work for us, so they do not drug test. They're already operating with a skeleton crew.
Right.
If they had to start suspending people.
And they're not paying anybody anything.
That's right. If they had to start suspending people for drug use.
I don't know how they afford their drugs.
I will tell you that we'll get to 4 downs in a second. One more baseball note before I tell you about our friends at New Life Art. Jake Mangum, remember that name?
Mississippi State, yeah.
Mississippi State. He's the SEC's all-time hit leader. Last night, 4 for 4 with the Tampa Bay Rays, 2 stolen bases, as he had his first significant contribution since being called up with Tampa Bay. So there's Jake
Was
Mangum.
Will Clark? He's got to be in the top 10 of all-time hits in the SEC, right?
I don't know who he passed. I would imagine Will Clark was in there. I also imagine that Jake probably played longer than some players played. Back in the day, you either didn't play college or you played, and as soon as you could go to the major leagues, you did. But he is the all-time SEC hit leader, and some of his last night, first stolen base, first extra base hit, and all that for Tampa Bay in their win. And I think we're 3-1, 4-1, something like that. We've only lost once, the opener. Not to rub it into Braves fans, but lowly Tampa Bay playing in a minor league baseball park.
Well, I saw some footage. I don't know what happened last night, but I saw Tom Hart talking about it on Twitter. Apparently, when they were doing the lineup introductions for the A's or the starters or whatever, it was their first home game in Sacramento. It was a complete disaster. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
But I saw some photos of that facility, and it's just embarrassing.
Yeah, I would tell you that the Rays actually may be playing in a better situation than their home stadium originally. Sort of fun to watch the games.
Yeah.
Small crowds, but it's almost full because it's such a small stadium.
Right.
And you have the awnings of like Yankee Stadium because it's the Yankees spring training site,
Right.
Steinbrenner Field. There's sort of something, it's outdoor, great weather right now in Florida. They're playing almost all their home games at the beginning of the year before it gets to be the raining season.
They've got more of an identity than the A's.
Yeah.
If the A's were to win a championship, which I know they're not.
Ain't gonna happen.
I know they're not.
Yeah.
But it's just the Athletics right now.
Yeah.
They have no identity.
There's no city to have a parade in.
Yeah,
like Sacramento
literally,
would throw a parade.
When they play on TV, it's going to say Athletics at Rays.
Yeah.
When you look in the standings, it's going to have every city and team name, and it's going to say Athletics.
Texas, A's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is so weird. And then I saw some of the video, like the coach's press conference, the manager's press conference. They've had to build a temporary building, and the winds were so strong in Sacramento last night, it was rattling the walls.
Is Mark Kotsay still the manager?
Could not tell.
We have
We've
got extended tents for the extended locker room because the major league locker room has to be so big.
It's it's understandable with the Rays. That was a natural disaster. It is so embarrassing with the A's.
All right, before we get to 4 downs right here in this segment, Tyler, I want to tell everyone about New York Butcher Shop. New York Butcher Shop. Excuse me. We'll get to New York Butcher Shop in a second. New Life Art. Our friends at New Life Art.
We're in the ends.
Yeah, we're in the ends of the show, and I'm just spending a little time to get Tyler back over here. Our friends at New Life Art at DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com, promo code TNR. The legend, Nick Saban, get those great works right there. All the great works all the way back to the goal line stand and so much more. It's all right there at DanielMooreArt.com, and maybe something new coming in the upcoming football season. If Ryan Williams could get things going over for Tuscaloosa, we'll talk Tide Spring football coming up on the latest Bama and Bourbon and a lot more. But DanielMooreArt.com with those great works. And, of course, 4 Downs every day brought to you by Bojangles.
Bojangles reminds you can't make that choice between savory and sweet at breakfast. You don't have to do it. Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. Bojangles' signature Cajun chicken filet drizzled with a bowberry glaze and sandwiched between warm waffles. Available for a limited time. It's Bow time.
First down.
Ultimately, better career, Walter Clayton Jr. or Tim Tebow?
Well, Tebow, a better college career, definitely. But Clayton in the NBA is going to be a star?
I don't know.
I mean, what's his size? How big is he?
He's 6'3".
Okay, so he's big enough.
6'3", 200 pounds, yeah.
If he could score like that.
I don't know. It's so difficult to see how it's going to translate to the next level. I'm going to take Tebow just based on the
what I
know.
That's
an iconic name forever, right?
Yeah. And he continues to add with the work he does for some marginalized groups post career, including his prison ministries, which you mentioned yesterday on the show, LT.
I mean, unless Clayton goes Steph Curry on us.
Yeah.
He could.
Which he could.
Yeah. Or John Morant or anybody who's an up and rising star. But I'm going to go Tim Tebow, too. His college career is iconic. Heisman Trophy winner, two-time national champion.
So if I went, how about this? Tim Tebow or Christian Laettner, better college career?
I say Tim Tebow had a better college career than Christian Laettner.
They both won 2.
Yeah.
Now, Laettner would not have been on the Dream Team unless they dictated that a college player be on there.
Right.
But he was on the Dream Team.
What an accomplishment!
I mean, to be on the Dream Team.
Yeah, to be on that '92 team, which is the
coup de grace.
Well, it really was. I mean, when you're talking about assembling the greatest roster of all time in any sport, that's got to be it.
Did I use that correctly?
Coup de grace.
Yeah.
And I said it correctly.
You did say it correctly. Yeah.
Boy, I'm telling you, that's an upset. That was both. I got it. I used it right and actually pronounced it right.
Yeah. Hello, Alabaster. Thompson High School.
Yeah, I do think Tim Tebow, man, that you can make the argument the greatest college career in any sport that we've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do second down.
Second down.
On this date, 2018, Stephen Bochco died at the age of 74. If you're wondering who that is, co-creator of Hill Street Blues, L.A. Law, NYPD Blue. If I asked you of those shows, did you guys like any of them? All of them? One more than other?
To be honest with you, I don't think I watched any of them regularly. Okay. Name them all again.
L.A. Law.
L.A. Law,
on. I
Hill
never
Street
watched
Blues,
it.
and NYPD Blue.
Never watched any of them.
I've seen L.A. Law. It seemed like, that was like mid-'80s. Yeah. The thing I remember about NYPD Blue was I was in school in Tuscaloosa when different markets, because of Dennis Franz or David Caruso, one of the two or both.
I think it was Dennis Franz.
Showing their ass. Yeah. They pulled it out of Birmingham market, Tuscaloosa market, markets all over the South.
ABC affiliate. James Spann was on the ABC affiliate at the time, still is. But they just started 3340, I believe.
I think so, yeah. It's pretty early in the 3340 run.
Or maybe Fox 6 was ABC still at the time. Whenever it was, Spann was at that station. And they, for religious beliefs, they did not put his bare butt on there. And now, if I remember correctly, it was a 10-second glimpse of a shower scene, and he, of course, was an overweight 50, 60-year-old man.
I really can't believe people made that big a deal about it.
I can't either. Well, even a bigger deal, I had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. Do you remember when Steak and Ale was a restaurant?
I do.
And we couldn't have it on the marquee, the one at Brookwood Mall, it couldn't have Ale on the marquee.
I don't remember that part of that. So what would you just say?
I don't even know if they had a marquee. I forgot, but I remember it was like, it went to like the city council and there was debates over it. We don't want ale on the marquee. And I'm like, every grocery store you walk into, you got a display of Bud Light and Budweiser all over the place.
By the way, how many people know what ale even is? We live in the Deep South.
But do you remember that at all?
I remember the debate. I mean, it's been so long now. There was a time you could not buy beer on Sunday.
Oh, no, I remember that well.
All day Sunday. Yeah. And then eventually it's 12 noon.
Well, there were places you couldn't, like Smith Lake, you couldn't buy beer any day of the week.
Yeah, still dry counties. The chat room. Is there still a dry county in Alabama?
There is.
My wife grew up. She spent some of her formative years in Clay County, and I remember going down there and walking at a convenience store and thinking something was out of place, and I couldn't figure it out. And then I realized, there's no beer in here. There's no beer displays. There's no beer in the coolers. It was a dry county.
So we still have one dry county in 2025.
I think we've got more than one.
Let me know if you live in a dry county in Alabama.
Morgan, our buddy in Kentucky, says there's dry counties there, which that's the home of bourbon.
I mean, it's shocking, but at the same time, when you're living in states that don't want to legalize sports betting and don't want to legalize dispensaries, I mean, I guess it's not shocking.
Keith says Coleman's still dry.
Alabama apparently has 24 dry counties.
Tyler, come on.
24?
Jeeves.
Out of what, 65?
67, I believe.
67?
Yeah.
Yeah, out of Alabama's 67 counties,
that's a high
24
percentage.
That's hard
dry.
to believe.
Yeah,
It's a high percentage.
And there's
30%.
wet cities in dry counties.
There is that, yes.
There's some examples of counties that are considered dry that include Clay County, Lamar County, Franklin County.
It just sounds like you're doing the tornado watch right now.
In Coleman County, the cities of Coleman, Good Hope, and Huntsville are considered wet, but the county is dry.
Yeah. Now, isn't that the one of the great sponsors of Bama and Bourbon, the Pink Package Store? Isn't that the genesis of that? Weren't they on the county line?
It's Wayne's.
But that's why it is where
that's why it is where it is, right?
Because it was right across the bridge.
Oh, yeah, I can believe that. I was going to say the most infamous that I remember is Wayne's Package right there on the Walker.
On
I guess,
I-65.
from Jefferson County.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, everybody would flock to that place.
So Jefferson was dry, Shelby was wet, and that's why Pink Package... Other way around?
Other way around.
Okay, so Shelby was dry, Jefferson was wet, and that's why Pink Package is where it is, because it's right on the county line?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember for a while, and this is 10, 15 years ago, where you had to have a special license you would have to fill out if you went to like Superior Grill on Highway 280 on a Sunday. You could only drink if you had a license.
Yeah, that was the loophole, right? Memberships.
Even like an Outback.
Yeah, I remember that. And they would bring it to your table.
Yeah,
they'd bring it to your table. You could fill it out, and congratulations, you're part of our club now.
Yeah. Now what do you want to drink? So stupid.
It is stupid.
Let's do third down.
Third down.
On this date, 1985, Villanova upset number 1 Georgetown to win the national championship. Who is y'all's most likely national champion of all time? Football, basketball?
Most liked?
Unlikely.
Oh, unlikely. I apologize. That NC State team was pretty unlikely. I mean, they were a collection of. I mean, was there a pro on that team? That was not David Thompson's team. David Thompson won it in the 70s, right?
76. 77.
Whatever it was in the 70s. I don't think that I don't know if there was a pro on that NC State team, and they were playing.
Feels like Washburn was he on the team? He played a little
Derek
bit.
Washburn.
Yeah. I listen. I lived through it, and they shouldn't have been national champions. But BYU, just to be able to play the schedule they played, and it was a good BYU team. I wish they would have had the opportunity to play one of the better teams. They beat a name brand in Michigan, but that was barely bowl eligible, Michigan in 1984. So I'm going to say BYU is a football national champion when they really didn't have to play the best of the best during the regular season or even in a bowl game. That still is the most unlikely for me, and I really have a hard time recognizing
it was like Michigan had a losing record after that bowl game, did they not?
I think they were 6-5 to be bowl eligible to go to the Holiday Bowl against BYU, who's I think unbeaten.
Yeah, that was more technicalities and just the way it's set up. To me, it was 2014 UConn. Shabazz Napier, Kevin Ollie, where he got a great contract after Jim Calhoun when he won a national championship. I think it was year 2 for him, but they were the first and I think only 7th seed to ever win one.
Yeah,
but I mean, it was just out of nowhere, and Napier played so well.
That's right. He took over the tournament at that point. That's a great one. Fourth down.
Fourth down.
So today is April Fool's Day. Best April Fool's prank, sports related or not, that you guys can remember.
Well, Tiger tripped some people up today. I saw a video. I was watching right before the show. CNBC, I don't know why they would have discussed this because it's a financial show, but their financial morning show fell for Tiger, who tweeted this morning as an April Fool's joke. It's a surprise to me, but due to working out, I'm going to be able to play in the Masters next week. Obviously, Tiger's not going to play golf this year. He's blown up his Achilles. And apparently, and Scott's showing the tweet. Of course, Scott has it immediately. Showing the tweet, and apparently CNBC's like, we have a little breaking news right now. Golf legend Tiger Woods has just announced.
Well, I mean, look.
And the poor girl doesn't realize it's April
but when
Fool's.
you're doing this from your own account, I mean, a little silly, right?
No, it's terribly silly.
And how long did you let it go? P.S. April Fool's, my Achilles is still a mess.
I don't know. It is a very silly joke.
Yeah.
I cannot believe Tiger Woods, the great Tiger Woods, would stoop to an April Fool's joke.
How bored is he?
He must be if he's sitting around tweeting this out there.
PT today or April Fool's joke?
I got a funny one I could pull.
Go April Fool's. I remember
he could be doing more egregious stuff with his phone.
We've seen it.
So on a local silly level, 95.7 Jams, I've told this story before, but they told everybody, be at Wildwood certain time during the day, we're dropping money. And all these people showed up, and they had the promotional vehicles out there, and they didn't drop no money, and people were pissed.
Yeah.
Was it?
And they were, because that
made local news.
Well, it was on the headline of the Birmingham News the next day, said the prank that stank.
Oh, wow. So, because was it in this market where somebody said we'll be dropping bills, and they dropped like power bills and water bills and stuff like that instead of dollar bills?
That it might have been what they dropped. But
Okay,
that was 95.7 that did that.
I wondered if it was the same thing.
Because they were literally rocking. I think the tires got slashed to the station vehicle.
How many people have to approve that one? And how on earth do you approve that? Of course, 95.7 Jam's still kicking.
He's still kicking. And then the other one I really remember as a kid, SI, the Sid Finch article.
Yeah. Oh.
It had me. Was it George Plimpton that did it?
I think it was, yeah. And he was...
Or it could have been the Riley guy.
Rick Riley.
Unbelievable pitcher, right?
I think it was George Plimpton.
Do it ham fast.
127 miles an hour. And he could shatter bottles, and they were just like, this guy is unhittable. And, you know, as a kid, you read that, and you don't have any social media, and you're like, I can't wait to see this guy play.
I want to play. I want to watch him play. That's
he's going to be a Met, though, was the only negative.
Yeah. So you knew he'd blow out that arm. That is 4 Downs today, brought to you by our friends at Bojangles.
That's right. Don't forget, right now, you can start your breakfast with both sweet and savory at Bojangles with those chicken and bowberry waffles available for a limited time. It is bow time.
And as I teased earlier, the great folks at New York Butcher Shop, not only do you get the New York-style sandwich, deli sandwich for lunch, but also great steaks and other stuff.
Yeah, stop by those deli sandwiches. They've got the substation. They've got their go-to signature sandwiches. You can build your own. They're fantastic. They're huge. Take home half after lunch. Pick some up for dinner. The fresh meats Dunaway talked about, from the incredible steaks, great ribs. And, of course, they've got the side dishes prepared fresh in-house. Get in and see Jim, the great staff, 2 locations, Cabo Heights, Highway 119. Rare quality, well-done service. It is the New York Butcher Shop.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of my lawyers.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR is Talladega Super Speedway, and it's ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to the Talladega Super Speedway, you have to check it out. This beast is 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every single turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, April 25th through 27th. Get your tickets now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. Don't miss the action. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family, all at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Roback. Go to roback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings, or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Hey, you. Days warming up, looking like spring. And at New Balance Birmingham, we've got the thing. What pops and what's fresh? Check the selects. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation states that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Back to college basketball momentarily after a great conversation with both Stephen Pearl and Seth Greenberg earlier in the show about Auburn heading to the Final Four. You can go catch those wherever you get our podcasts, including Apple and Spotify, but also on YouTube and everywhere else. Sorry, at Next Round Live, everywhere at Next Round Live. Go follow us from TikTok all the way to Instagram and everything in between there. Taylor Korn will be anchoring our coverage from the Final Four coming up this weekend. Out there Thursday and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. She'll be out there covering it all for us at Next Round Live. Looking forward to that. This hour brought to you by our friends at Champy's Chicken, where it's never cooked and setting under a heat lamp, the chicken there at Champy's. It's brined overnight, and it's cooked to order, so it comes out piping hot. That's the way Sterling likes to do it. It's the best in the business right there at Champy's. There are Champy's all over the place, and we encourage you to go by, but there's only one that's owned by Sterling. It's on Highway 119 in Alabaster at Champy's Chicken there. It is so good. The Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, the bar, it's just a great atmosphere that Sterling's created there. Happy hour is a good place. But it's a destination lunch and dinner location if you want just good Southern fried chicken. That's what you get at Champy's with Sterling and the folks right there on Highway 119. He is family to us. Before we get back to basketball, in the NFL, they have tabled the Tush Push discussion. And there are very few things that when I get together with other people that it pops up in conversation. But last night, as I gathered to throw cards around at a poker table, everyone was talking about the Tush Push. And I didn't realize how divided the discussion was because I'm around the people I'm usually around.
Were they Eagles fans? Anybody Eagles fans?
Nobody was an Eagles fan.
All right.
One was a Green Bay Packers fan, and I assume they're pretty good at that too with Jordan Love.
No. They're trying to have it outlawed.
Oh, they're the ones trying to outlaw.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think wasn't
That's right.
LaFleur.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was one of the main ones.
Yeah, but it was about 50-50 split on who wanted it outlawed and who didn't mind it at all. Stop it was always the thing. I don't like it, and I don't know why I don't like it. I think it's because it's so automatic that it feels like if you're 4th and 1, you're going to get it. I feel like I've done a good job to get you to 4th and 1. It seems like it should be illegal.
The Rams have never run it, so it does nothing. And I saw Buffalo run it this year successfully. I've seen the Eagles run it multiple times over the last couple of years successfully. So it is almost an automatic, but I am almost to the camp of, like, you should be able to stop it or figure out a way to stop it. And you can figure out a package as well. You can find an athlete at Taysom Hill. Everybody's got some sort of guy like that on the roster, which you could probably run this formation. But I'm more in the camp of stopping it than banning it.
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't benefit my team at all.
Yeah, according to the reports from the owners' meeting, the Eagles actually now have the votes. That Lurie has done the backroom work and the handshakes. Sirianni apparently has got enough allies that they control this being shot down, which is why it's being tabled, is they know they don't have the votes to get it passed.
Yeah.
But it's become a player safety discussion. That's what they've turned it into to try to get this
Where
thing
are
done.
you on it?
I'm with Jim. Like, I don't see anything particularly offensive about the play. I just don't like it because it is such a guarantee. I like the and I just don't know that there's a way to successfully defend it. And, the thing I like about football, I don't know how you would fix this. One thing I dislike about the NFL is late in games, this is where college is better to me. Late in games, if I get inside the 40 in the NFL, the game is over. Yep. Kickers are not going to miss those kicks. In the college, man, anything could happen to a college kicker.
Yeah, you could be on the 24 and miss the kick.
That's right. Like 2-minute warning, they get a first down at the 40. That game feels like it is over. I don't even have to watch the last 2 minutes hardly. And they can just bleed the clock out and make the kick. In college, man, anything could still happen. I just don't like the guarantees in football. I like the unpredictability of football.
I like the unpredictability too, but in all the years of this incredible game, you have finally come up with a loophole, a cheat code that can't be stopped.
I know. That's what I don't like about it. Yeah. And if there were a way to stop it and teams just chose not to do it, I'd be okay with it. But how are you stopping this?
Well, the best way to stop it is to make it 4th and 2, not 4th and 1.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, but
I go back to if every team can do it, just because you don't have the personnel, we'll draft the personnel, go out and free agency, get the personnel.
And I'm not saying make a rule to make it you have to be 4th and 2. Your defense be 1 yard tougher and not let them get to 4th and 1 where it's a gimme. We'll see what happens, but they did table it today. That is some news. Our Urology Centers of Alabama NFL update also tells you that they have shortened the window for flexing Thursday night games down to 21 days now, so they can get more flex. But you can only play 2 short week games, so it's not like a lot of games can be flexed. And another rule they passed out of the owners' meeting, throwback alternate uniforms now can be worn 4 times in the 17-game regular season. So you can get the Philly Kelly green, the Tampa Bay creamsicle, the Denver
Orange
Crush, the New England Patriot, Hiking Patriot.
The Dolphins' proper uniform.
The Dolphins' proper uniform. You can do that 4 times. That's up from 3, which was up from 2.
Yeah, I like more better. Again, I think the franchise should be able to dictate what the hell they want to wear. Yeah, I know it's all about merch.
Yeah, there is a closet, apparently, that you have to have of your traditional uniform, and you cannot deviate from that. In the postseason and the Super Bowl, you've got to wear traditional uniforms. There's one team that does not have an alternate or a throwback uniform. Do you know which team it is?
The Houston Texans.
That is not true.
Oh, they have an alternate. They don't have a
terrible
throwback.
red.
No, they've got the alternate, not the throwback.
You guys will eventually get this right. And in fact, I'm going to sit right here until you get it right.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I know the Colts have got black in their uniforms now. I think the Browns have an alternative.
Remember, the Colts throwback has no horseshoe on their helmet.
Well, and they've got a black uniform, too. Yep. Cincinnati's got all whites now.
Keith says Cowboys, but Cowboys have that one where they got the white shoulder pad with a blue jersey.
They got a red stripe on the helmet. Yeah. Yep.
I am going to go with the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, that's a good call.
Not the Baltimore Ravens.
Who is it, Jim?
It is the Kansas City Chiefs.
So they've never changed anything.
I am surprised with that hokey franchise. They haven't done something.
Hokey franchise. One of the great franchises in NFL
They have
history.
no throwback uniform. They are still in the ones that they've done it.
So you guys tell me, like Baltimore, what has Baltimore done? I guess they've done all purple, maybe all black. They had a little gold in there. Yeah.
And don't they have a different helmet one time?
Maybe.
They've got the traditional Raven. They've got a different Raven.
Oh, another one I would have said is Vegas.
The Raiders?
Yeah.
The Raiders. They've got one.
Boy, I can't
remember
them ever wearing something different.
They've got a different numeral.
Okay.
And they have a different helmet.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Raiders are one, if they've ever messed with their uniform, somebody needs to be fired because that is such a classic.
Yeah, like the Steelers shouldn't mess with them.
Cowboys the Steelers have got those jailbird-looking uniforms.
I know. I know. I'm just saying they shouldn't.
No, you're right.
Yeah. We got our spotlight coming up here in a second. We have some developing news. I want to tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, UCA. They can take care of you guys from everything kidney stones to prostate health, vasectomies, everything in between. When you're in your 20s, you're bulletproof. then 30s and 40s and 50s. You want to stay on top of your health because that will help you. Early detection so important on so many things. Urology Centers of Alabama, 205-930-0920. UrologyCentersAlabama.com. 16 great locations, 35 urologists, and just trustworthy name recognition right there in Urology Centers of Alabama. They will take care of you. They're the absolute best customer service people I've ever seen. 205-930-0920, UrologyCentersAlabama.com. And also, our spotlight brought to you by Shannara. In fact, Tyler, you hit the button first.
The College Football Spotlight.
The Shannara Spotlight. I look at college football every single day. Alexander Shannara brings it to you. You may not know that his firm now handles not only personal injury claims, but claims for fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, disability, workers' compensation, and a host of other claims. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call the Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case. Shannara.com.
Listen, Gary Danielson, tremendously nice guy. And I like it.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
When I've talked to him in person, to me, tremendously nice guy.
By and large, Gary was nice to me as well, but I did have one issue that would stop me from calling him a tremendously nice guy.
Okay, that was just
no. You've got to talk on your experience.
My encounters with him personally always seemed to be a nice guy, but I understand that annoying on television can be annoying on television, and it's different for different people. Gary Danielson announced his retirement last week. We talked about it on the show, but you guys were not here, so I wanted to give you a chance to react to this. He's going to do one more year, which will be 20 full years with CBS, 36 years as an analyst. Friend of the show, Charles Davis, will replace him with Nestler on the Big Ten Game of the Week.
Which Charles leaves the NFL booth to do that. I was kind of surprised by that, honestly.
So,
Charles was the number 2 guy.
Yeah, gets really good games.
Yeah, I mean, your number 2 crew is going to get some really good, even deep into the playoff games in the NFL.
Yeah. So he leaves to go do that now with the Big Ten.
And J.J. Watt's taking his spot, right, in the booth.
Gary Danielson, who do you think is comparable to you and Brownie of analyst in football that you did not like listening to? And there's one that pops, I don't know his name, but I will tell you who it is, and you'll remember his name. For me, it's the guy who was on Fox originally, but he was not on the main crew, but he tried to be a former player and be Madden-like. And I can't remember his name now, but he was like great value John Madden.
You're not talking about Tony Siragusa, are you?
No. I liked Tony Siragusa.
That was a really good crew when they first started.
Yeah.
It was Dick Stockton and Moose in the booth, and then Tony Siragusa on the
end
field.
zone.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that crew back
Putting
in the day.
a lot of fatigue on the goalpost leaning up against it.
Yeah.
But that guy was in the TV booth for a while, and then he ended up doing some radio as well. I cannot remember his name, but I did not like him. And it would have been early 2000s. And he's a former player.
Mark Slareth?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Stink. No.
For me, Booger McFarland.
Yeah.
Never.
I forgot all about the mobile.
The rover?
The rover they had on Monday Night
how
Football.
hard did they force that?
What a horrible invention that was.
It was terrible.
Yeah, like what were we getting?
The Dennis Miller thing was an absolute disaster.
Yeah, I mean,
opinion.
it's funny how people like Monday Night Football is now Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, and you're so comfortable with it. And people that were not old enough to remember when Monday Night Football was grasping at straws, they had Rush Limbaugh on.
Yeah.
Barkley was in the mix.
Now say that again. Rush Limbaugh was the analyst for a full season of Monday Night Football.
That is correct. And so was Dennis Miller.
Yeah, but Dennis Miller did not stick out more than Rush Limbaugh did to me.
But 1 year, your Monday Night Football booth, if I remember correctly, was Al Michaels play-by-play, Tony Kornheiser, and Dennis Miller analyst. Am I right about that? Was that not the booth?
Maybe.
No, I think
yes,
there was,
sir.
I never remember Kornheiser up there.
I remember
100%.
Kornheiser being up there, but I thought he played the role. I think it was Al Michaels, somebody else in Kornheiser.
You think they had a serious player? Okay, maybe it was Jaworski was still there. Maybe Jaws was still there with Kornheiser.
Yeah, I can't remember, but Kornheiser and Miller I did not think were together, but I may be wrong because I forgot about the Rover. I forgot about Tony Kornheiser and Dennis Miller. I forgot about Rush Limbaugh. That's how bad they were.
For a long-running, primetime, successful program, I mean, they've made more switches than American Idol.
They really have.
No, they did. Yeah.
Boy, I tell you, Kornheiser is not mentioned among the color commentators on.
I don't remember him.
100% he was in the booth. You remember this, right?
I do.
He was
yes.
in the booth.
Short-lived though, because it was so bad.
It was so bad. Dennis Miller got 1 year. It says Dan Fouts. It was Dennis Miller and Dan Fouts. That's right. I'd forgotten about that. Boy, I swear Kornheiser was in there, too.
I think so, too. Correct me if we're wrong in the chat room there, mybookie.ag chat room.
Yeah, like if you ever paired Gus Johnson and Booger McFarland up.
Be hard for you?
I like Gus.
Yeah, I like
Gus more than you do.
That's our spotlight today, brought to you by our friends Alexander Shannara.
Yeah, Shannara.com. Shannara.com is the place to go when you need an attorney. You don't pay unless they win your case. I'm just reading a New York Post article that refers to the failure of Tony Kornheiser Monday Night Football. Kornheiser was with Tirico in 2011, apparently.
For that one season?
I think it was just one season, yeah. I'm trying to...
For some reason, he may not have made it a whole season.
Tirico, Joe Theismann,
and Tony
Kornheiser until the last year. It actually went longer than I thought, 06 to 08. And Jaworski was the last 2 years. So Theismann was 1 year than Jaworski.
Yeah. Back to basketball, brought to you by our friends at NASCAR Brownie. Tell us about NASCAR and we'll get back.
Yeah, it's coming back to the Talladega Super Speedway. 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, April 25th through 27th. Get your tickets now, TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. That is TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Yesterday, UAB's Yaxel Lindenberg, 17 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists a game, AAC Player of the Year. Yaxel Lindenberg from UAB, just a stud for 2 years. Andy Kennedy called him one of the best to ever wear the UAB uniform. He hit the portal. Now, he may be going to the NBA, but if he comes back to college, he'll be a portal guy. And reports now are out from Kentucky Sports Radio that Kentucky, that's the goodbye, the actual thanking everyone with Blazer Nation. I've heard SEC schools like maybe even Auburn in the mix for Yax if he doesn't go to the NBA. He's a 6'8" guy. More on how I think he projects if he plays in the SEC in a moment. But he's a 17-11 guy who is one of the best at UAB. But here's the report. Kentucky head coach Mark Pope met with UAB transfer Yax in Chicago on Monday. Sources tell Kentucky Sports Radio. So NBA possible. SEC or some other power program for a lot of money, likely, at 6'8", with the way he played at UAB, how does he translate to, let's just say, in the SEC? Do you think he is equal to those numbers, drops off, or can exceed them?
Oh, I think he's equal to those numbers. I think he's tremendous. I think there was such a focal point on Yax when people would play UAB. I mean, really, he's got a really good skill set. He's got good handle for a guy that's 6'9", really. He's got the physical body. He can shoot the three a little bit. He was about 35% this year. So he can refine these skills, get better and better. I think when he comes in and plays on a more talented team and maybe a more agreeable system for him, I just believe that he's one of those guys that will make close to seven figures if he stays or at least transfers out. If he's to go in the NBA draft, I think he's a second-round guy. I think he will get drafted, though. I think he's got that kind of upside. But if I was Yax, if I was, advising him, I'd be like, take $800,000 to $1 million, go to an SEC or a Big Ten school, and get the stock even higher for next year.
You could play your way into the first round and higher if you're around like players who are as good as you, to where you're not the focal point of the defense, is what you're saying.
Well, here's what I would say. If Yax was in a situation like Johni Broome, like Broome is, you can make the argument one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Auburn player in his time in college. But Yax in that situation, I think there would be more upside. If Yax right now was playing for Auburn and Broome, I think NBA scouts would be like, this guy's probably a first-round guy.
I mean, I don't know. I was going to say I don't think the NBA would fall for this, but if he just played the same exact basketball he played, but he did it in a Kansas jersey or Kentucky jersey, does it look more appealing to the NBA?
Well, I think...
us fans, he does, but I'm talking real NBA people that watch him.
Well, I think at that point, he's going to play more night in, night out against future NBA players. just because of their schedule.
I would agree with you. So if he put up the same numbers, had the same game.
But Yak's played against Memphis a couple of times a year, put up big numbers against him, puts up big numbers against everybody. Sometimes with his back to the rim, sometimes front facing.
I mean, the last time he played,
I want to see him one more year in college.
The last time he played Memphis, a very good team, we all agree, 19-17.
That's right, 19-17.
Yeah.
And they got some bigs.
Yeah, and I believe, Dan Danja is a really, really good big. I just believe in the right setting, I think Yax could be a superstar. I really do.
So we'll see where he ends up. Kentucky, according to Kentucky Sports Radio, talked to him. Heard Auburn in the mix. We'll see if anybody else in the SEC gets in the mix with him. That Trason Eaglestaff guy from North Dakota did not end up in Tuscaloosa. He ended up in South Carolina.
The knock on him is, and we made a lot of jokes about him, but the true knock on him is his defensive skills are probably not up to an SEC level. I don't know that he's not, but I don't know that he qualifies as a traffic cone on defense. But I think he's close to that territory, Lance. And, I mean, it's just hard. I know the guy can shoot the eyes out of it, but it is hard to sacrifice a defensive position just for a shooter.
Yeah, and I actually don't know.
I don't know. I'm just saying that is the perceived knock on him.
There's obviously Achilles heel because a guy that can shoot it like that, everybody would win.
I literally saw the guy play one game
in
his entire career. And
He's pretty impressive, though.
I think most people watching this saw him play one game. It was against an Elite Eight team, and he had his way on offense against an Elite Eight team.
Big Z from Arkansas is in the portal. Rylan Griffin, one-time Alabama, short-term Kansas, 6 points per game at Kansas. He's in the portal again. Some familiar names there. There's some big names in the portal as it swings at right now a little over 1,300 names in the basketball portal, and it's been open a week, 2 weeks, whatever it's been open. All right, when we come back, trash and some more on Auburn getting ready from the Final Four. The show being brought to you by a couple of great folks, including our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag, Brandon.
Yeah, code next round at mybookie.ag. We started the show by telling you, the first time we talked about this, that the Duke line has crept up just a little bit. It was 4.5 this time yesterday. Duke up to a 5-point favorite now over the Houston Cougars. The Florida Gators, a 2.5-point favorite over the Auburn Tigers. You can play those games, all the Major League Baseball and NBA action at mybookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag. Heck, you could play the NIT. I bet Lance could probably tell you who's still alive in the NIT. I bet you Jim Dunaway can't.
Well, you can play the Crown, which last night was a really good game.
Watch some of it.
It was in 4K.
Yeah, it was in 4K.
I can't get the NCAA tournament in 4K, but I can get the Crown in 4K.
I watched some of the G-Dub game, and I'd just been on their campus last week, George Washington. And who are they playing? That's how impactful it was. Can't remember who they were playing.
Yeah.
But Brando on the call.
I refuse to watch it.
It had the atmosphere of the Peach Jam.
Yeah.
If you know what the Peach Jam is. That was kind of the atmosphere.
I do.
Anyway, you play all those games. MyBookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round. That code next round gets you a great sign-on bonus. 50% sign-on bonus up to $1,000. Also a $10 casino chip when you use code next round at mybookie.ag.
And our friends at Champy's, world-famous fried chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go by and see Sterling and the crew down there. You can't beat those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. The brined overnight cooked to order fried chicken. Chicken fingers, the best. Perfect tailgating food, all the sides, great bar, destination lunch location. It's Highway 119 in Alabaster. Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go to Champy's. You will not be disappointed. Back in a moment on Next Round.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of my lawyers.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
If you are a business that does a lot of printing, like a car dealership, mortgage company, real estate office, tax office, bank, school, or university, print more and spend less with ImageCraft. ImageCraft is located at 1151 Gadsden Highway in Trussville, just down from the Pinnacle Shopping Center, and online at imagecraft.net. They carry all the major brands like HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, and Xerox. Shop in-store, mention TNR for a 10% discount. Shop online at imagecraft.net with coupon code TNR10. ImageCraft. Print more, spend less.
The biggest and baddest track in NASCAR, Talladega Superspeedway is ready to put on another amazing show in April. If you've never been to this track, you've got to come check it out. 2.5 miles of nothing but pure speed and incredible action at every turn. Don't miss the Jack Links 500 NASCAR weekend at Talladega Superspeedway. It's April 25th through the 27th, and you can get your tickets right now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. That's TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Back with you on the next round. Everyone on the show, you may not know the kind heart that Lance Taylor has, but he's demonstrating right here. Old guy can't get up in the break to get a water. He just got me a water.
What a good friend.
For those that
Lance.
don't think he ever does anything nice for me, there you go. Look at there.
What a good friend.
That is, I've been asked a lot of things about the two of you. I've never been asked, man, do you ever do anything nice for Jim Dunaway?
Yes, well.
It's never come up. Maybe they just know that I don't.
Well, I mean, I'm a punching bag on the show for you every now and then. So
Yes, Jim. Ever the victim.
This rivalry you're creating between Tyler and me is...
I think you've created that. Tyler, am I wrong? Like, I got nothing to do with it.
I mean, Jim's been putting in the work all on his own.
Yeah.
I'm running around doing everything in the studio, and Jim's like, we got a show today. Are you gonna join us this segment?
I'm just saying, I can't do 4 downs if you're not at the table. And I've only told you twice that we got to do 4 downs right here. I'm giving you the hand signal.
I'm waiting on you to start the read, and then I can run up here.
Here we go.
Yeah. Well, I'm afraid to start the read when you're 42 feet away from that little button you have to hit to say first down.
I can make it.
Yeah.
My man Tyler puts in some work, though. I think we all agree. I
don't know anybody up here who doesn't, so I'm really excited, Tyler, that you're meeting our expectations. We'll get to trash in just a second.
What flavor did you just make that water, by the way?
That's going to be watermelon.
Oh, that sounds good.
Let's see, natural.
It looks nothing like it, but
yeah.
Well, it just doesn't have the food coloring.
Well, I'm just telling you, when it's when Jessica Simpson and I are worried about our vocal cords, this is what we drink right here.
Got some sleep.
If you were trash yesterday, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Hey, the show being brought to you by our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. I was worried so much about how much weight. I mean, like Sunday coming back, I had, for lunch, I had just an appetizer of French. It was like nachos, but with French fries. And I ate the whole thing by myself in the Nashville airport with barbecue sauce on it and sour cream and cheese and
I was at a
barbecue pork and all of that.
Family funeral on Saturday.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, sad situation.
Ian's dad?
It was, no.
Not the judge.
It was actually my late father-in-law, Julian Ennis, just a great guy. Passed away in Marion, Alabama. That's where the service was. But one of my former wife's cousins asked me, she was like, how much does Dunaway fluctuate on his weight?
A lot.
Yeah, and I was like, he is the Mariah Carey of sports dog.
I really am.
Yeah,
I really am.
Because I was like, one day he'll be 165 in bones, and the next day, he'll have him a little gut and be chubby.
Yeah, I in the time we've been together, I have been 212 and I've been 163.
Hey, that's that's a lot of weight.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
a 50-pound fluctuation in the time we've been together.
Because 2010 Auburn, Oregon, I've been 163.
That was when people were asking me if you were terminally ill.
Yeah.
I'm not over.
Well, I never believed you could get that low in
and
weight.
I'm 173 right now. My point being, coming back from the trip, I thought I'd gained 8 pounds the way I ate and drank. And I'd only gained 4, and it's gone now. With all the water and stuff, boom, 173 this morning.
Well, that is a great thing about Leslie and her staff. Once you get dialed in, you can start to figure out what works for your body, and you have your cheat days.
That's right. aplanforme.com. It works. Just look at me, and when you don't do it, look at me. So do it.
Yeah.
It's aplanforme.com.
Jim's got an example either way.
I would say just do it, but I feel like somebody already has that slogan. aplanforme.com. It is Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Before we get to trash, give me cut 6, Tyler, if you got time. Cut 6. I'm only playing. Hard working Tyler back there. They shut down the Syracuse Colorado spring game. They shut it down.
Why don't we just get rid of all of them?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to, but they were playing.
They wanted to play each other.
Yeah.
Fran Brown, Syracuse, Deion Sanders. Syracuse is going to pack up, go to Boulder, have 2 days of shared practice like they do in the NFL, and then play an exhibition game, basically.
I'm going to assume Syracuse's AD did not like that idea.
The NCAA shot it down. They would not allow them to do it. They were going to do it. They were donating money to literacy camps.
That's my favorite thing is when I've got a marginal idea that I think might not get approved. Let me find a charity I can tie to it. That'll get it approved.
The way it works sometimes.
The way it normally works.
But Fran Brown also does this too. He says something and then says, I'm just kidding.
Just kidding, yeah. Which means I ain't kidding at all.
Which means I ain't kidding, but I'm going to say just kidding. Listen to Fran Brown to the NCAA after they shot down primetime Deion Sanders and Fran Brown's idea of taking spring football to a new level.
We should have just told Coach Belichick and Bill O'Brien to come up with it, and then they would have let them do it, and then it would have all went right. We shouldn't have been the first 2 dudes to say, damn well they wasn't about to let Coach Prime Time and Fran Brown be the first 2 guys to do it. I was over their dead bodies, so that wasn't happening that way. I'm just messing with you, NCAA. Don't get all mad and call out my AD and try to find me. I'm literally joking. But I think that they were headed in the right direction, right? And they had all the right reasons. It wouldn't have gave everybody the same opportunity, right? It would have been a little advantage. I think that would be amazing if we start doing that. I heard Temple and Penn State was trying to, Lincoln afterwards. I don't know what that would have been, but it was just a good deal, like to have people go and do it, right? So see how it goes. I think that we've opened it up, and it should happen next year. It should be cool.
They're talking about next year, maybe this being allowed to happen.
It's the only way you're going to bring excitement to the spring game.
Gundy wants to do Bedlam. Since they don't play, he wants to do Oklahoma State, Oklahoma.
That's dangerous.
And split the gate for NIL. I asked EG last week this question about Gundy's idea for you guys. At that point, are you being judged on whether or not you win that exhibition game in a rivalry situation?
I think you kind of would be.
I think you would be. And I think on top of that, there is so much hatred. And because you don't get to play that game in November now, I think the fights amongst the fans, the players, that's one of those, again, I think it would bring excitement if we had a Syracuse, Colorado, just because it's so different. I probably wouldn't watch. You give me Bedlam, I'm going to watch just based on what could possibly happen.
Now, here's what I would say, and we don't know that. You may know the answer to this. I know I don't. I don't know if Lance does. Once this spring portal window closes for football, the only next portal window is after the season, right? Like we're in that 40-day or are we? It opens again. See, that's what I don't know.
It doesn't open until after spring football.
Okay,
April.
so all right. So, but then I guess my question was, once spring football is over, once that window closes, the next one doesn't open until after the season, right?
Yes, but it seems like you can move in the summer too.
Okay, so I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know what to say.
I just assume you can move.
I really don't know.
Anytime, anyway.
Yeah, I'm just saying if you could find a time where there's not a portal window open right after a game, I think that we could bring these games back to life, and I think they've got a great idea. But the problem, Lance, nobody wants to play a spring game because now you're just showing off all your players who could get picked off in the transfer portal.
Right, and if you were one of those players and you know that you're in the rotation, but you're not necessarily the in-stone starter, a lot of these guys will take off for the right offer. It is amazing how players used to be solitary confinement in the hole. They had no rights at all, and now the players control everything.
They control the whole sport.
Now the school has no rights.
That's
at all.
right. Yeah, it has completely flipped.
I mean, it's what's Maxwell minimum security?
Yeah.
When you play golf.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I bang your wife.
I was watching the Field of 68 or reading it this morning about this portal, and they were like, these three guys hit the portal yesterday. They have zero eligibility left. Like they've used their COVID year, they've used their redshirt year. These three guys have zero eligibility left at this point. But they went into the portal yesterday, so we're assuming at some point they're going to challenge something to try to get another year of eligibility.
Were they like JUCO guys, like Chad Baker, Missouri?
They said they're not JUCO guys. They were like, there's no path to eligibility that we know of for these three guys,
but
who entered the portal yesterday. So that means somewhere they're thinking they're going to get another year of eligibility.
I would bet on them playing.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Now, the problem is if it's not approved on some level, then if you're one of these institutions that brings them on, you're at risk of forfeiting games, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're ineligible players.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that happened. I think Hunter Bussey was telling me this last night that Jacksonville State baseball and Liberty maybe played baseball this week, and the starting pitcher for, I believe it was the Liberty team, was not listed on the card, the roster that was handed in. He wasn't a bench player or the starting pitcher, and it was the first game of a doubleheader. And they forfeited the game right at the start. They just played one game. Like, they didn't throw one pitch of the first game. They were like, he's an ineligible player. He towed the rubber.
Oh, so he had to walk out and tow the rubber, and then the game over?
Yeah. It was a clerical error.
Oh, it's just a clerical error?
Well, I mean,
don't you let them play at that point anyway?
I mean, people have already paid to come to the game?
Yep. So, boom, let's play game 2.
Wow.
Let's go. That's straight from Hunter.
Well, I'm glad Jack State got the win.
I think I understood that correctly. Let's do trash, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Somebody fact check that for me. Pretend this election year. Fact check me. Until next time, here's Mortgage Right and trash. Do it.
After the break, we're going to interview Eric Weihenmayer, who climbed the highest mountain in the world, Mount Everest. But he's gay. He's blind.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
That's a 1 seed.
If you are looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and low rates make the process so easy. Speaking of veterans, veteran founded right here in Birmingham. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home, your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200. Drivers zigzagging down one road. It's not to avoid a pothole. It's a new road design to get drivers to slow down on Gray's Lane, which has created quite the controversy among neighbors. Now, one neighbor went on to say, quote, "I think it's an eyesore. I also think it's ridiculous. I think it's awkward. It's weird. I'm not used to it." Look at this. That is definitely
It does. I mean, like, you think people are really going to slow down to stay inside those lines?
I'm going to be touching the other side.
You're just going to gun it straight if you want to go fast.
Now, the traffic calming measure features yellow and white curved lines that run along 2 blocks of the road. They were painted on Friday. A Facebook post from the police department says the new design was in response to neighbors' complaints about speeding drivers. The department said signage along with the safety devices called delineators will be added Most drivers stayed within the lines, but not everybody. According to another witness, quote, I mean, right now everyone is just driving through the middle of it, which is what we expected. I'll tell you what I don't like, which has come on a lot, is the roundabout.
Oh.
I hate the roundabout.
I love the roundabout.
I don't like the roundabout.
I don't like it at all. And they're building one right down here near us, and it's been a long construction process.
They're confusing.
Oh.
Yeah, I not enough people know how to drive the roundabout, and there's one I stumbled across. I didn't even know had been built. No, it's over. I think Old Leeds Road and Grants Mill right there. Do you know where I'm talking about? Near Nick Saban's Mercedes dealership.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, if you keep going towards, have you ridden through this one?
Oh, I know which one you're talking about now.
You're gonna cut over.
Yeah,
That's
to
right,
Irondale.
And it's a 2-lane roundabout.
Yeah.
So if you get in the center lane, you're going to have to merge back over, but people don't know it. I mean, it is.
No, a lot of them in Hawaii.
Yeah.
No, I love them. They put one in Auburn that I use a lot on the way into Neville Arena, and it took out a traffic light that makes it flow a lot better. And then a very funny moment, going back to the hotel, one time I had Ubered down and I was riding back with Taylor at the SEC tournament, and our hotel was right past the roundabout. And it was late at night. Little T was driving. First time I'd ever ridden with her, to be honest with you. I'd ever been in a car with Little T.
You let the narcoleptic drive at night?
It was her car, so I offered to drive, but she was driving. And it was, you do the roundabout, and it was the first right off to our hotel. And she took the right and went right past that in the roundabout. And she's like, before you even say anything, I know. And she just circled all the way back around.
That's the good news with the roundabouts. You get to correct your mistake.
That's right. You get a couple opportunities.
That's right.
That's
exactly
right.
But 2-lane is so confusing.
Yeah, once you get over on that inside lane, you may have to fight back over to the right.
Shopping carts. I didn't know how many people had stolen shopping carts, but, I see them up and down Highway 280 all of the time.
I think it's an indicator of
homelessness.
Of your neighborhood, maybe.
Now, more than $1,700 worth of carts were stolen from a North Fort Myers grocery store in the early morning. According to Southwest Florida Crime Stoppers, suspect took 5 gray U-boat utility carts, each worth $300. One green double-decker cart valued at $200 from behind the Winn-Dixie liquor store around 6:14 a.m. on March 26. Cars were removed without permission from an outdoor area behind the liquor store section of the business. Suspect was caught on surveillance video placing the shopping carts in his truck and driving away. Any information, encouraged to contact Lee County Sheriff's Office.
I like if you're homeless and you steal a shopping cart, I kind of get it. You need a place to keep your stuff. Otherwise, I don't know why anybody would ever.
I don't know what you would do with it.
Yeah.
Now, I will say driving over the Cahaba River, the hill that comes down from the Target, I have seen multiple of those red carts just laying on hillside.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with that.
That sounds like kids having fun.
Yeah, I would tell you that at the Prudential Center, the Rock, up in Newark, the tech guy had a shopping cart where he kept all his little tools.
Oh, okay.
And he would roll
I
that
can
around.
see that, yeah.
So, and it had a New Jersey Devil logo. He'd mounted on the front of it.
Yeah.
Florida woman, 40 years old, has been charged with felony battery for allegedly attacking a male acquaintance with a deadly weapon, a large conch shell with barnacles.
That's got an N in there for those that missed it. The conch shell.
Yeah.
You think the conch shell would hurt with barnacles?
I think it absolutely would.
Now, investigators charge Nikki Quarterman, you see right here. She was, quote, very intoxicated when she got into a verbal domestic-related argument with the 63-year-old victim, 11:30 a.m. on Saturday. The pair had been in an on-and-off relationship for the past decade, according to the criminal complaint. After the argument, Quarterman took her clothes off and started to break everything in the victim's St. Petersburg home.
Before I break everything, let me take my clothes off.
Now,
why'd you do that?
After the man got Quarterman to go outside, she allegedly grabbed the 10 to 12-inch dried conch shell, swung it at the victim multiple times.
Yeah.
Now, Quarterman seen right there, then threw the conch shell at the victim, who suffered a laceration to his hand when he sought to block the incoming shell. After posting a $15,000 bond, Quarterman was released yesterday from the county jail. Judge has ordered her to have no contact with the vehicle.
Yeah. How many times do we read stories about somebody who's intoxicated slapping somebody in the face with a conch?
Yep. Did you say it was a large conch shell, Lance?
10 to 12
10 to 12 inches, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very big conch shell.
It really is.
If you hold it right up against your cheek, Brownie, you can hear the ocean.
Here's the headline, and I'll get to the story. Chesapeake Bay Sox alternate logo leads to powerful climax.
Okay.
The introduction of the Chesapeake Oyster Catchers.
Right.
to the world made quite the splash on social media, though not in the way the minor league team thought it originally had spawned the idea. They thought it was going to go a little different. I disagree. I think they know exactly what they were doing.
Yes.
The Chesapeake Bay Sox, the Orioles AA affiliate, joining in on a trend of minor league baseball teams to adopt an alternate identity for one or several home games, unveiled theirs, the Chesapeake Oyster Catchers.
Yeah.
Here comes the logo here from Tyler.
So this was the first logo they showed off.
I see it in my head before you even do it.
Okay, so this is their actual oyster
Yeah, the
catcher's
first
logo.
is a American oyster catcher bird perched on a baseball bat instead of a branch.
Okay.
Which was described in the Bay Sox's press release as a, quote, symbol of strength and ingenuity. What am I looking for?
Ingenuity.
Ingenuity.
Yeah. Oh, I know what's coming next.
Qualities that both define the Chesapeake region and its passionate baseball fans, according to this release.
Okay, so this is the actual logo, and here's the new one.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah. But I mean, both uncomfortable, but also...
Go ahead, Jim.
Geographically correct?
Geographically?
Yeah.
I think you mean anatomically.
Anatomically, I believe is the word
correct?
you're looking for. There
well,
is.
when you're lost, I pull out a map.
Jim never could find the baseball.
Yeah, the baseball, I guess, doubling up as a pearl.
Yep. It's in oyster lands.
Yeah, I see that. Now, second logo right here has drawn a lot of different conclusions. Many felt the logo shared resemblance to...
A what?
Yeah.
Yep.
To certain things.
Yep.
Some were offended. And after only several minutes of the pearl clutching here, Bay Sox deleted the logo from all of its social media images.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew this wasn't going to fly, right?
Yeah.
Now, if that was at the bottom of the sea, there would be a lot of good scuba divers.
Agree. I mean, sometimes you got to go in the hole and make a play.
You do, Jim.
Long throw to first.
Never know.
Yep.
That's right. You could also find very large conchs in the sea, according to Lance.
Yep, 10 to 12.
10 to 12 inches.
Yeah. Is this the April Fool's trash? You're
going to have to ask your buddy back there.
You enforced or AI that logo right there?
No, this is a real logo. I pulled it from a Baltimore baseball website.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and tell you that. The oysters I eat don't really come out in that color right there. So that's. I think they knew what they were doing when they did the coloring there.
Do you like oysters?
I do.
I like them if they're.
You like them too?
I like them fresh.
Oysters.
Yeah, we've got a place here in Birmingham that's got the best oysters.
Yeah. And I used to really only like them raw, but once you've had them charbroiled the right way, that's actually my favorite way.
Yes.
Place in New Orleans called Drago's.
Oh, I've eaten at Drago, Tyler. They're famous for
They do great char-grilled oysters.
Their char-grilled oysters are world famous.
The Murder Point at Citizen, a place down on 30A.
Yeah.
Really
top.
good. Yeah, because they do their own crackers in-house, the homemade cracker.
See, and that's it about the oyster. Is it really about the oyster or about what we put on the oyster?
Yeah, I mean, just sitting there pounding out straight raw oysters, I don't think that would be a lot of fun. It is more about the different sauces and the cracker.
A raw oyster, you're going to need hot sauce, and I like a little horseradish with it too.
That's the only reason I'm there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I leave off the oyster and just go horseradish and crackers.
Yeah, but the char grill, now we've added flavor.
Yeah, now we can put cheese,
melt a little cheese on it, some garlic in there if you want to, whatever you want, a little butter.
So really, the oyster is just the conduit to get me to all the good stuff.
That would be correct. Yes.
Did I use that right?
Yeah, you did. God, it's a big day for you.
Yeah.
What about fried oysters?
Multiple syllables today for me.
What about that? Fried oysters?
Yeah. Do you guys like fried oysters?
A little chewy for me.
Yeah,
Not a big fan.
Yeah. Char grill's the way to go. That's my coup de grace.
There are fried seafoods I like better than fried oysters. So I would go, something else. Like a fried oyster po' boy. I'd rather go fried shrimp in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love a fried pickle, not a fried oyster.
Okay.
A little bit of the same texture.
Yeah.
Yep. Is that trash?
That's it, man.
No.
Hey, it is spring buying season. Our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Veteran founder here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country. 205-900-7200, mortgageright.com.
Good trash. Good April Fool's logos there that are actually real. I like that a lot. All right. Stephen Pearl said earlier that Johni Broome will sit at practice today. You can go see the interview wherever you get our show podcasted at Next Round Live, on all social media platforms, Apple and Spotify as well. No practice from Johni today, but don't be worried. He'll be back. He'll be ready for the games coming up this weekend. By the way, his 25-14, 10 of 13 shooting in the Elite Eight, the best percentage point-wise since 1984 Hakeem.
Oh, wow. I would have just randomly said Patrick Ewing on one of those Georgetown teams, but the dream makes sense.
Yeah, I bet I would imagine Ewing and, well, they played before the three-point line, didn't they? I was about to say, I imagine their three-pointers attempted were 0. And Broome will at least shoot from outside, which makes it even more impressive there.
Cooper Flagg, first Duke player since Grant Hill, first Duke freshman since Grant Hill to average 15, 7, and 5.
And Grant was on that. Was that the team that lost to UNLV? I know he was on both.
Maybe.
The one that lost and then the one that
hit the shot.
Yeah.
I think the Leitner shot. Yeah,
I think you're exactly right.
Was he the inbounder for the Leitner shot?
I think he was.
Because Thomas Hill was the other Hill. He was on the bench because he's the one they cut to, and he looks like he's crying. Yeah.
John Shire joins a group of 3, if I've got this correct, to play for and lead his team as head coach, his alma mater, to the Final Four.
So you have to have played for your alma mater and coach your alma mater in the Final Four.
That's right.
Kevin Ollie?
Not there.
That's surprising.
Dick Harp and Hubert Davis.
Boy, Hubert is an obvious one. Dick Harp, I don't even know. Where did Dick Harp play?
I have no idea. Only player coach at their alma maters to lead them both as a player and a coach to the Final Four.
It's hard to believe Kevin Ollie didn't get to 1 with Jim Calhoun, but...
Boy, he just missed it, didn't he? Because Calhoun was there a lot. I mean, you had to time it out just right to miss a Final Four with Calhoun.
Houston, only 1 loss in regulation this year. The Houston Cougars before they get to the Final Four.
Alabama?
Alabama was it, right?
Or Auburn?
I can't remember which one it was. Check it out real quick.
I think Auburn went to overtime. I thought.
Okay.
I thought Alabama
I know their
went to
Texas
overtime.
Tech loss went to overtime.
Alabama went to overtime. It was in Vegas.
Yeah.
I remember that now. Yeah. So Auburn beat them in regulation, and Alabama beat them in overtime.
Yeah. Auburn was regulation. That's the one regulation loss.
I think so.
Yeah. Check that. Our show today brought to you by our friends at NASCAR. While Brandy checks that, I'll tell you that at NASCAR you can go get the fastest speeds, great people watching, camping that opens up all week long. They have some free camping available out there. You witness the intensity of Talladega. Don't forget the Big Bill's Garage there. You can get tickets for that. All the upgrades you get right there with our friends at Talladega.
Yeah, April 25th through 27th, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. Auburn's regulation win over Houston was 74-69. 74-69 in regulation. I do remember the Alabama game. That was in that Las Vegas tournament. It did go to overtime. I remember watching that.
So their only loss in regulation was to the Auburn Tigers. So
that is it.
Every other loss has been overtime for Houston. Just some Final Four facts as we get ready for the trip to San Antonio. We'll talk more basketball on the show tomorrow. Always some spring football for you. Until next time, God bless you. God bless America. And don't forget the Pennant Grace is coming up live in about 15 minutes. And LT's about to jump in and record a brand new Bama and Bourbon. That'll be out later this afternoon with our buddy Aaron Suttles. A little Bama football on top and a rebuilding of the roster. That's straight ahead on Bama and Bourbon. Until next time, God bless you. God bless America.